like we put it in a song. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. Keep your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air, when the chips are down and you throw a prayer, when your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control, and we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back. Football is back, Jack.
I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I will need help from the group on this. When I think of Arkansas sports in general, I think of Nolan Richardson's basketball teams, but I'm pretty sure Arkansas hasn't been great at anything since Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones played for the Arkansas football team. So that's how long that has been. I'm just doing it off of the top of my head. I have not looked up the resume of Arkansas, but off the top of your head, give me the Arkansas teams. It would only be basketball, right? Football hasn't mattered in Arkansas in a minute. And the Arkansas athletic director is now running or spokesman for the CFP. He's got very little in the way of personality. So Zaslow is serving his punishment. He is the Pope. He is a Pope who really likes his cream cheese. And he is a Chicago White Sox fan. It is a good outfit. What is the answer to my question? Off the top of your head, any of you.
If you're going to bypass the Arkansas Razorbacks men's basketball team, they had Darren McFadden, Felix Jones. They had a good run in football there in the SEC, and then Bobby Petrino got in that accident.
How about a man named Jerry Jones? Ever heard of him?
Have you ever heard of Steve Martin?
Steve Martin was
Yeah,
on
I mentioned that it's a long time ago because Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson are very old. They're both in their 80s, and so they played football. I want you to imagine, given the general frailty right now of Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson was a nose tackle. That's the last time Arkansas was good at football, but I'm going to make fun of this person. What is this person's name? I don't know how to pronounce
Hunter
his name.
Yurachek.
All right, let's play some sound here as they explain. He explains why it is that Notre Dame and Miami, even though they will have the same record at the end of the season if they both keep winning, and even though Miami beat Notre Dame when they played, why he's explaining that Notre Dame's loss to Miami is more impressive than Miami's victory over Notre Dame.
Be in the field, we know they have to win the ACC to get in. How close is Miami and Notre Dame in terms of evaluation within the room?
I think when you look, Reese, at Notre Dame and Miami, we really compare the losses of those two teams. Miami has lost to two unranked teams. Notre Dame has lost to two teams that are ranked in our top 13. And so we really haven't compared those two teams. They haven't been in similar comparative pools to date, but Miami is creeping up into that range where they will be compared to Notre Dame if something happens above them.
I will continue to request of the audience and people who listen to this show for the last few years, when invariably they did a made-for-television event for this very reason, trafficking on America's #1 addiction, which is just outrage. It's just arguing. That is the greatest sport we have going right now, is argument. And so I will continue to compare it to boxing. I don't love that boxing has 3 judges and that's how you decide the winners. I've never loved it, but that's what college football is. You can use your computers, you could use your committees. They're not deciding things on the field. They are deciding things with a bunch of people being judges. And so understand that it's made for television gymnastics. Like, that's what it is. I understand that it's college football, but it's gymnastics. They're not making the decisions based absolutely on merit. It's not absolute in any way. It's this guy haunting Mike from behind because he is, as you said, a wet sock. He has no personality. If you're going to make something for television, entertain me, man.
Yeah, get a charismatic lead. I think where I and most of the people struggle to follow is we went to this committee because we were upset with the computers because they weren't taking head-to-head into account. And they outlined these criteria, and the criteria shifts year to year. There's no consistency. Last year, they underlined quality wins. This year, they're saying when you compare Miami, you compare the quality losses. Comparing quality losses is a tiebreaker in the event the 2 teams don't play head-to-head. Why are we bypassing that? And also, if I'm let's set my Miami homerism aside for just a second.
It's hard to do.
I'm setting it aside for now.
You're cloaked in it. Sometimes it feels like you're drowning in it, and it's only your lips
This is big of
underneath
him,
the
though.
ocean of Miami bias.
So they established the criteria. Notre Dame and Miami, we can't even compare them because Notre Dame is in a different tier. BYU is ahead of Miami. BYU has 1 loss. BYU has a win over Utah, which is ranked just below BYU. It's a better win than Notre Dame has, which is USC. They have 1 fewer loss, and their quality loss is to Texas Tech. They have 1 loss.
Yeah, but
Notre Dame has 2. So establishing the criteria. So if I've established that criteria, why in the hell is Notre Dame ranked ahead of BYU?
I got a better question. Why is Miami ranked ahead of Georgia Tech? We're the best team in the ACC. Why don't we have that spot?
You lost to NC State.
We have-
They put up 48 points on you. NC State didn't cross the 50. I hear you. The good news for you is you have everything in front of you. You can play your way into the ACC championship game.
You're arguing with a wall.
And
Like,
you'll
who
be
cares?
there. Like, everyone understands that. I would look at those CFP.
I
I'd say
care.
it's a joke. Oh, cool. Like,
I care.
I'm with you.
And they're going to get in if they win the ACC. Like, it's not an issue.
I'm with you, by the way.
I'm just saying, we're going to have an ACC team in there. Why don't we have the current ACC leader?
Let me
that's a different
answer Mike's question when he says, why is BYU with 1 loss ahead of Notre Dame? Because behind Notre Dame. The reason for that is because this year, for whatever the reason is, they're measuring the losses. And
But I just told you, Dan.
BYU got dragged by Texas Tech. It's the way they lost to Texas Tech. It's that it wasn't a close game. Notre
But
Dame.
that's the number 6 team.
but
And
they're-
they have 1 fewer loss.
Yeah, but yes, it's the number 6 team, but they lost by 1,000,000 points.
They lost by 3 scores, and it's 1 loss. It's 1 loss, and it's a quality one. They have a better win than Notre Dame has.
What I'm telling you is you're saying you just made your own point when you said they're measuring losses this year. The way they lost to Texas Tech is what makes them drop that far in the rankings.
So now it's how much you lose?
Yes.
It's not even the amount of
Yes.
losses?
Yes.
So they have 1 fewer loss. It's a quality loss. 1 better win than Notre Dame.
It's not a quality loss because you lose by 3 scores. It's not a quality loss. You just played a good opponent, but you got dragged by them. That game was never close.
It's not a quality loss.
No, because of the way they lost.
Okay.
If they're measuring losses ahead of the quality wins, why are the undefeated teams 1, 2, and 3? Like the teams with a loss should be.
Well, that's a good point. But
1, 2, and 3.
I think it's because Mike Ryan made fun of me last week because I said the 3 best teams I've seen are Texas A&M, Ohio State, and Indiana.
No, they don't have any quality losses, though.
No, but he's like, really, Dan? So you're going out on a limb there with all the undefeated teams. But BYU was undefeated, and I never considered them one of the best teams. And then they got dragged by Texas Tech. Texas Tech is also lost. They lost because they played their backup quarterback in an important game. But Texas Tech has looked all season to me like one of the best teams. But it's the way they beat BYU. Here's the thing about Miami. Here is the thing that I'd make an argument if we're doing this as subjectively as judges on behalf of Miami. You know they're one of the best teams. You know why? They're going to be favored in every single game they play this year. So you know they're one of the best teams. So if there are a bunch of teams with 2 losses, The money tells you they're never an underdog. They are always expected to win every single game they play this season. Now, I don't know. The three teams at the top would probably, maybe Indiana would be favored against them?
No,
I think they would.
Right now, again, people keep saying, well, who would be favored right now, Notre Dame or Miami? And I would always say Notre Dame, they were favored when they played in September when Miami beat them. Like, lines are about getting 50-50 action. Miami would probably be an underdog at Oxford. I think I saw a 3.5-point line out there. I think this is much larger than betting lines or anything like that. I knew Miami's chances were cooked in this CFP ranking.
There's nothing larger than betting lines, by the way. That's the most important thing. Like when you say this is something larger than betting lines, it's where the money goes. And while
if that wet sock came out and said that, I'd understand it. But there is no consistency here. They put Arizona State at number 25. We all know why they did that.
Why?
It's directly tied to not wanting to have Miami and Notre Dame bunched up together. It is, because they want to avoid that discussion.
I want to ask you something. So if that is true,
that's why Utah exists.
Okay.
Which, by the way, Utah's athletic director joined the playoff committee last week.
Okay, if that part is true, that's why they want to have them number 25, do they have that discussion in the room, or is it like an unspoken thing where they all know, hey, like, we're just going to do the thing, which will...
Well, one of the people having the discussion is the aforementioned athletic director at Utah. Arizona State got ranked number 25. Arizona State represents Utah's best win. Utah's best win came against Arizona State, who was playing Jeff Sims at quarterback, not Sam Levitt. Arizona State is behind both Louisville and SMU. If you look at others receiving votes in the AP Top 25, they're behind SMU in the coaches poll. Both SMU and Louisville are unranked, and I've heard for 2 weeks how this is a bad loss. The SMU loss is a bad loss, even though SMU was a CFP team last year and has one ACC regular season loss since they joined the conference. I keep hearing it's a bad loss. So what do? How do we juice this Utah ranking? We rank Arizona State even though they have no business being ranked here. Arizona State has zero business being ranked. They're behind the two teams that Miami lost to in all the other rankings.
I hear what you're saying, my son.
The idea that we're throwing this in the lap of judges and you're bouncing past what I'm saying about betting lines, when it comes to the judgment of money, Miami will be favored in all of its games. That means you think they're good. You're not doing that with more than 12 teams in the country. They're one of the best 12 teams in the country based on how it is the money would decide when you put them against people. The reason the SMU loss is viewed as a bad loss is because they were an 8.5-point favorite.
Right. Notre Dame was I think it closed at 6.5-point favorite to Texas A&M. I guess the difference is 2 points there. Look, Notre Dame is a really good team. I understand this.
Why does everyone love Notre Dame so much?
I understand why Notre Dame is a good...
serious.
You're saying that?
Yeah, that's
the
all
Pope is saying that? The Pope knows why everyone loves Notre Dame so much. What do you mean?
I'm trying to be fair, my son.
Amen.
I would love to hear the Pope rip Notre Dame. Notre Dame has gotten fat off of a flat track. I mean, Notre Dame's third best win is probably Miami's third best win. It's both encapsulated by NC State. I mean, they were up 10-7 on NC State at halftime. But Notre Dame is a really good team. I'm not arguing that Notre Dame should be out of the CFP. Only they should be out of the CFP if Miami finds itself out of the CFP, because they're either both in or just Miami's in.
I've asked this question before on Cinephobe, but does Notre Dame have to kick back to the Vatican like a little taste of the action?
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Does Notre Dame have to kick back to the Vatican a little taste of the action?
And I hate Notre Dame.
I'm going to move off of this subject. If you want more Mike Ryan on University of Miami outrage, there is a bubble that he lives in. He is a co-owner of an afternoon delight that he's going to be partaking in. Are you going to do a 7-hour outrage special today?
We have Canes Insight today. D-Money, Peter Rees, and myself will be on live on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@officialcanes Insight at 1:30 if you want more of this. We have Jess joining us later today. That's a losing proposition for me. I really don't want to do that. but she'll be joining us.
I will just tell people that if they want more of this, that's where they can get it. But it is something I've been lamenting. Like, I really do remember on Highly Questionable when they broke out the whole idea of committee, weekly announcements, made for television event. I've been complaining, how long they've been doing this now for more than 5 years about like the stupidity of, we're really going to do this in November where we're just going to fill the work week with talking about arguing about what judges think about things that are subjective when the teams actually play. And the way that we do meritocracy in sports is you play, you win, you get to keep playing games. Unless it's Inter Miami, then you take a month off.
So to be clear, nobody here will even deign an answer or whether Notre Dame has to kick back to the Vatican.
It doesn't appear like anyone here has an answer, so we've just thrown it out to the audience.
I don't think you gave anyone a chance, to be honest. You
Okay.
kind of said poll, and then you just switched the
Go
topic.
ahead. All right, let's
Anybody
see.
have an answer?
All right, let's see.
Pope, do you got an answer?
Don't worry about it, my child.
Okay, I like that answer. My fellow Catholics over here in the back row, you guys got an answer?
Catholic conspiracy, count me out on that.
I'm Christian, but yes, I do believe that there is a little bit of kickback back to the Vatican. Like it's tied in.
Dan, you haven't weighed in yet.
Because I don't think it's a good question. I thought it was a question that shouldn't have gone answered. I didn't think that anyone had anything. It appears I was right.
Well, I guess we could just go back to arguing about the rankings for things that don't matter for another month.
They matter though. Like this is what I hate about this is it does matter. It does matter. Like, if this is all just setting the table for Miami to handle its business in November, something that they struggle to do, something that I am concerned about them doing because history is my guide. But if we're just setting this up for Miami TC being the next 2 weeks, looking the way that they've looked since they fixed their offense, then you're just going to pull the rug out from Notre Dame. And that ain't necessarily fair either.
I think we're looking at this in a weird spot because we used to have a system that would take out the human element. Mm-hmm. Now,
talk about it.
Okay, now
We're taking it into account.
Let my boy cook.
The polls were a huge part of the criteria.
agree.
of
But
the
what did we
BCS.
take out? What did we take out?
Computers.
The computers. Okay, AI is in such a good place now. We are so above and so beyond anything that we could even imagine.
We need a robot to be part of the committee.
All of a sudden, AI. You put ChatGPT, you put Grok, you put whoever you want.
I
Gemini,
love
it doesn't
this.
matter who it is.
Who's Gemini?
You'll find out about that.
I don't
buddy.
know that
I thought you
fool.
see everything.
It's an American Gladiator.
I'm going to tell you something. Grok will have FIU in the rankings.
Well,
Tony's cooking right now.
well, I think that we should go back to the computers, put everything in, and see what that makes
You know
sense.
why we got away from the computers? Because everybody was upset because the computers didn't care about head-to-head matchups. And here we are.
But you write that into the algorithm.
20 years later, and the committee that was supposed to be a guardrail against bypassing head-to-head is once again bypassing head-to-head. You can look up what the BCS rankings would be. Miami would still be behind
I
Notre
hear you,
Dame,
but I'm
and
saying-
everybody would be upset about this.
You write it into the algorithm that it spits back at you. Hey, consider head-to-head as an important thing.
The algorithms are smarter now.
Ask a
Back then-
follow up. Hey, did you consider head to head? And then they give you a new answer.
Back then, it was just like, put in calculation.
It's like beep, boop, boop, beep,
beep,
beep.
according to my calculation. Now, it's like having a conversation with you.
Exactly right.
Say, hey, Mike, well, here's the deal. That's how it would answer. It would be like, hey, Mike, so here's the deal. You know, Miami, I know they beat Notre Dame, and that should count as a lot, but that happened at the beginning of the year. Things have happened since then. Plus, you guys have some pretty bad losses.
They're not bad.
I will tell you that I believe that even though this is the local hour and even though the subject matter is interesting to me, I will tell you that I believe that the audience has a glaze over effect on the last 20 years of all the arguing that we've done in November that doesn't matter by the end of the season when they've played all the games. And it's just something we do to entertain ourselves during the week, during a content week, where you need stuff to feed on. I know that Amin is shocked by the fact that AI is now capable of blackmail, and so I want to get to that in a second. But the last few weeks, John Oliver has had some funny video that he has played on Last Week Tonight. One of them was a shocking beauty pageant where the talent of the beauty contestant was death metal. And it was just really funny to watch a beauty pageant contestant do death metal.
What does that mean? Like what you're I know what you're saying. I don't understand
I'm
what that
saying
means.
that there was a talent portion of a beauty contest, and the woman during the talent portion was just doing death metal, where she was like,
She was doing vocals.
Oh, she was singing. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
I mean,
gotcha.
not really singing, more like
Singing.
growling. But
You have a good death metal voice. I didn't know that.
How about that? Put that on the poll. Did you know Dan Le Batard had a good death metal voice?
But the other video that he showed, and I'm going to just show you this if you have not seen it. When you say the robots, we need another robot in charge of the committee, I believe we have one, and I believe this is the robot that we have, and the rest of his helpers are the committee, where they tried to hide this while they were trying to bring out a robot.
I'm not seeing anything here.
A robot just fell down while trying to walk, and then they tried to bring out a curtain, and the curtain just sort of fell apart here.
Just
You
twisted
can
up
see-
the curtain.
Yeah, the curtain.
That robot's drunk.
They were trying to hide the drunk robot,
And they're like, no, put the curtain this way.
Robot walks like Joe Biden.
Now, keep in mind, throughout this entire thing, they were playing the theme song to Rocky.
Is
Gonna
that
fly
Joe
now.
Biden? That could be Joe Biden.
So this was during Eye of the Tiger. The robot.
Come on, man.
No, going to fly now. Dun, 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 dun.
Who's there?
Just put a little oil in me.
I'm a robot. You know,
I'm like the Tin Man.
you talk about, yeah, popsicles.
Tonight,
Scran.
the Golden State Warriors are in town. I want to get to some Steve Kerr sound. Yesterday, Juju played the world's smallest violin for Steve Kerr, complaining that this is the worst road trip he's ever had in his life, that the worst travel schedule that he's ever had in his life. Despite all the load management, players are continually getting injured. Golden State lost at Orlando yesterday. Orlando's undermanned and ends up beating Golden State anyhow. And so Steve Kerr comes into town tonight with Jimmy Butler. Are we expecting Jimmy Butler to play? We've
Nope.
done.
That's funny. No.
Nope.
I never expect a star to play in that league.
So how many free throws did Jimmy Butler have last night? Because he played one of those games where he went for 30 points because he got a million free throws.
Small correction. He didn't go for 30 points. He went for 30 perns.
Yeah, you do have to get that. That's something that you've got to get.
13 of 15 from the line.
So he played one of those games.
Jimmy Butler, why you did not have a 30 perks?
You guys are expecting him to play tonight?
No, there's no way he's playing. Steve Kerr's been setting this up for a couple days now. Curry, by the way, is definitely not playing. Like Curry after the game, I'm a little bit sore. I'll have to see how I feel. Jimmy said something similar too. Curry is definitely not playing, but Steve Kerr's been setting this up for a couple days. That Butler and probably Draymond is not going to play either. And it's annoying too because the Heat are on the second half of a home and home.
Both playing, look at that.
This is something that I've been saying for quite a while, Dan. The whole rest rules thing, it's kind of stupid because it all rests upon your ability to lie effectively. So basically, if you just start the lie a little earlier, by the time you're about to sit the guy, which you already knew, they already have on their schedule, they know which games, this is a sick game, this is a sick game, whatever. By the time you get to that game, it's like, no, I've already been establishing for the last week. He's been feeling under the weather. What? Is the league going to fly doctors in and open your mouth, stick out your tongue, go, they're not going to do all that. They're just going to have to take your word for it.
What did you make of the Cavs being fined $100,000 for that aforementioned home and home in Miami? Yep. That they sat all their starters for the second game. They played their starters in the first game and lost it. Then they sat all their starters in the second game and won it, but they were fined $100,000 for allowing Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley to just go home.
Yeah, so it was the front end of a back-to-back because they did play versus Toronto at home the very next night.
But the second half of a home and home.
It's not a home and
Not
home.
right now,
Home.
Let's not confuse people.
Sorry, my child.
Dan, they were fine because they didn't do what Steve Kerr did, which is establish an alibi really nice and early. Yeah. What they did is say, oh, yeah, he's fine. And even if they had established an alibi, he's not feeling so well, the league would have turned on TV what the hell is he doing at Louisville, Kentucky?
You work for Vegas.
Let's play the Steve Kerr sound talking about injury. Steve Kerr is always a good talker, and I wonder how you guys feel about all that he's going to say here.
I'm very concerned. It's dramatic. The pace difference is dramatic. This team tonight has really upped their pace compared to last year. I think across the league, everybody understands now that just easier to score if you can beat the opponent down the floor, get out in transition. But when everybody's doing that, the games are much higher paced, faster paced, and then everyone has to cover out to 25 feet because everybody can shoot threes. So we have all the data. Players are running faster and further than ever before. And so we're trying to do the best we can to protect them, but basically have a game every other night. And it's not an easy thing to do.
I hadn't actually considered the idea of pace being harder for old people. Like, it's not something that I had thought of that, yeah, Orlando plays fast. Miami obviously plays fast. So they're not likely to play back-to-back nights where they have to run at that speed, given the way the game is played today. It's not something I'd considered.
Dan, first of all, what a company man Steve Kerr is, wearing the Golden State Valkyries shirt to the post-game press conference. Shout out to him. But also, he's right, and this is the part where I think it's really lost on people. People like to compare, it's so much faster than it was in the early 2000s and the 90s. Did you know, Dan, that 10 years ago, 2016, which feels close, right? 73-win Warriors, LeBron 3-1 lead, all that stuff, right? It feels very recent. 10 years ago, there was one team in the entire NBA that played at a pace of 100 possessions per game. Today, 2/3 of the league play at a pace of 100 possessions per game.
Let me ask you, as our basketball insider who once sat in an NBA office, your thoughts on yes, obviously, without question, there's more pace in today's game. We can't say it's more physical, though, can we?
Well, Dan, think about the injuries that's happening. It's not like, I got hit and then like my chest caved in or whatever. It's soft tissue injuries, groin injuries, hamstrings, right? Calf strains. Ankles, right? These are all pretty much non-contact type injuries. So you can't talk about physicality. What we're talking about is wear and tear. And when you look around, and again, Giannis is out for a couple weeks now. We know Ja's out. We know AD is still out. We know Kobe White is out. Like all around the league, Dylan Harper, Victor Wembanyama. Bam, Tyler Hill, all these guys are not hurt because, it was too physical. It's because of soft tissue injuries, and this is due to wear and tear. And the wear and tear doesn't come from, he played too many minutes last night, but it's an accumulation, right, of these guys playing lots and lots of games as youths, right? And then the other thing, and this is big, they didn't have diversification, right? So years and years ago, I watched this documentary called In Search of Greatness. They interviewed Jerry Rice and they interviewed Wayne Gretzky and all these greatest of the great athletes, right? And one of the common threads they found in all of them was they all were multi-sport athletes as youths. Wayne Gretzky talks about hey, as soon as hockey season was over, I throw my gear in the basement. I wouldn't look at it again until it started getting cold again. I picked up my baseball, man. I wanted to be a major league player. That was his dream. Hockey was his second dream, right? And so you think about a lot of the great players through history. Kobe Bryant was an avid soccer player. Tracy McGrady was a baseball player. All these guys played multiple sports. Michael Jordan, obviously. Now, all these kids are like, you're just playing basketball every day, all day with a trainer, with AU, with your school team, whatever. And so what happens is you're getting wear and tear on the same muscles in the same way over and over and over and over. By the time you get to this level, the pace and the, all of it adds up.
They've got an injury problem. The NBA has an injury problem.
How do you fix that? I mean, because you're talking about, you can't tell kids now, hey, don't play basketball if you're going to try and be a basketball player, right? Like, it's the same thing overseas in Europe where you have these academies where kids are little kids. Hey, this kid can kind of kick around a soccer ball. Perfect. Let's put him in the academy. And he lives 17 years in this academy until he makes his debut. How do you figure the NBA tells people of families of kids, hey, don't let them play basketball?
You start an NBA men's softball league. Who you taking first overall? LeBron's got to be a high pick. I'll take LeBron high.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards would be strong.
An NBA men's softball team?
What do you mean transition? That's exactly what we're talking about. He's like talking about NBA guys playing other sports.
Wembanyama would be sick first baseman.
Thursday night men's softball league.
First baseman, though.
Too big of a strike zone, yeah. Too big.
He would help you, though. Anything that is a ground ball to the infield, anywhere in the infield, he just stretches, and you can just flip him the ball. The third baseman
can you picture that visual?
But he can't field, right? There's no way he can field. If there's a
base.
You don't need to really field. No one hits the ball.
A ground ball hit it towards him. He can't catch that.
He does the splits.
You don't think he looks athletic enough, do you?
It's a little too tall.
Let's get a stat of the day music here.
I saw Nick Johnson play first base. What the hell are you talking about?
He does the splits.
Matt Stairs in interleague play would go to first base. John Kruk played first base at a high level. What the hell are you talking about?
He's 2 feet taller than all of those guys.
Sid Bream played first base.
And landing a split. He's literally like the craziest athlete I've ever seen. What the hell are you talking about?
You know about Ken Herbeck?
I don't know that fool.
Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day.
Guys, obviously we know Steph Curry is incredible, the best shooter of all time. He has 47 9+ 3-point games made. 47 of them. The next closest is Damian Lillard with 14.
Whoa.
So he has 47 games where he's made 9 threes or more. He almost had one last night where he had 7.
Dan, 25, 30 years ago, Brian Shaw hit 10 threes in a game.
I remember.
Everyone lost their mind.
10 for 15.
Everyone lost their mind.
I was going crazy.
He made how many threes? That record will never be broken.
He made his first 6 that night. It was crazy. It was at the Bucks.
Terry Rozier also shot 10 threes. Also, this man, Steve Balboni, was a first baseman, just so you know.
No way.
Yes. That
First
was
base coach?
A power-hitting first baseman.
Tony, late-stage Pablo Sandoval played first base.
You see Miguel Cabrera, he couldn't even move. He's playing first base.
You guys don't get it.
Just put up Steve Balboni again there, just so that you know, like Costanza and Seinfeld, this is Steve Balboni at 24 years old, just so that you know, this is his athletic prime. This was him as a rookie. Steve.
You have my Steve Martin in the Father of the Bride? You're supposed to be 39 years old. Give me a break.
I thought the best example we could come up there was George Costanza being a young single man in New York when he was clearly looking like a 70-year-old. Get me the other Steve Kerr sound that we also have, because so you guys are not expecting Golden State. I think the last time Golden State came to town, I think Steph Curry also didn't play. I think he sat out that game as well. You do not expect Jimmy Butler to play tonight. You think the Golden State Warriors are just going to dump tonight's game.
I got no Curry, no Butler, no Draymond. I got all 3 of them out.
All right, let's hear Steve Kerr here before tonight's game, because I'm assuming that Jimmy Butler will be booed tonight. They're going to just boo in general, but you're telling me they're not going to get the opportunity to boo because he's not going to be introduced and he's just going to be sitting in street clothes on the sideline. So he would get booed, but he's going to avoid it because they're never going to show him in a way that introduces him. Let's hear from Steve Kerr here.
Everyone, all the constituents would have to agree to take less revenue. And 2025 in America, good luck in any industry to agree. Imagine some big company saying, you know what, we're not as concerned about our stock price. We're actually concerned with employing people and giving people a stable job and making our product better. And come on, Nick, that's not happening. We know that.
I set that question up, set that answer up poorly because the question was about shortening the season. And he's like, no, we're not going to shorten the season because it would require everyone to collectively bargain differently what's already been collectively bargained.
I mean, Dan, Jimmy played 38 minutes last night, which we all know is torture for an NBA player. There's no way he plays tonight.
I think, give Steve Kerr credit, most of the time people say, you need to shorten the season. And they never add along the other caveat of if you do that, everyone's going to get less money. So at least he's acknowledging it, even though it ain't going to happen.
Mike Ryan is taunting me, laughing right now. He's saying that this is what just happened. I'm trying to listen to both of you, and he's like, Dan, Get Up is doing a better show than you right now. Get Up is
they are.
Get Up is so much better than you right now.
What a game
I'm looking at it right now, Dan. It is a better show right now.
What is Get Up doing that is better than what it is that I'm
with
doing?
Jeff Saturday. Mike, what are they playing?
Definitely or definitely not?
Ooh. I'm good at that game.
We don't have a Jeff.
You guys out here with El Na and El
How do we turn that into a Dan
Come
game?
on now.
We need a Jeff.
We need a Jeff.
You know what? They are doing a better show.
Danfinitely or Danfinitely not?
No.
Definitely or definitely not.
What a flex that would be if that he just does that casually.
We got to get a Jeff
Hey, Jeff,
on.
are you going to be there? Definitely.
We got to get a Jeff on. I need to play this game.
We need our own version. This is what we.
Let's play this with Jessica.
They have the golden arches.
No, definitely.
Definitely or definitely not.
They have the golden arches. We have the golden arcs.
When I say he's got his own money, I mean he's got his own money.
We both have 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, lettuce, onions, pickles on a bun.
What's the difference?
Theirs have sesame seeds. Ours have no seeds.
I want to get to Being Eddie, the Netflix documentary, because I do wonder if young people will place him in the pantheon with the Richard Pryors and the George Carlins, because young people have only known Eddie Murphy as somebody who does family stuff or does Shrek or does stuff for kids.
I don't think the young people know who Richard Pryor and George Carlin are.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, Dan.
The young people is like probably... Do they put Dave Chappelle in Eddie Murphy's class?
Oh, no, but I would say that in terms of historical resonance, I believe that, and now maybe I have this wrong because of a general ignorance about history, but I thought that when you go, I don't know, I never saw Lenny Bruce. But I knew who he was because I liked comedy and because he did groundbreaking things. And because all comedians after him ended up citing him as one of the models. So look, none of you saw Babe Ruth play, but you all know who Babe Ruth is.
The Dominican guy.
Black. If you could see that on my threads at Darth Amin. I actually had the exclusive. No, it's true. I'm just plugging it.
How did you get that?
I asked. Nobody asked, apparently. So here's the deal, Dan.
Look at that.
Think about someone who's 20 years old. Ask them, who's better, LeBron or Jordan? Most of the 20-year-olds are saying LeBron, right? Now, ask someone who's 40 years old, who's better, LeBron or Jordan? They'll say, oh, it's definitely Jordan. But then ask them, who's better, Jordan or Magic? And they're like, come on, it's Jordan.
It's definitely Jordan.
Now, go back a little older. Get a 60-year-old. Ask him, who's better, Magic or Jordan? They'll probably say Magic. Or they might say, actually, young man, it's Kareem. And then someone older than that say, wait a second, what about Bill Russell? The way it works is the younger you are, the less you care about things that happened when you weren't alive. You're like, oh, I was growing up. I heard about Lenny Bruce. I know about Lenny Bruce. Kids nowadays don't know about anything that happened before they were alive. These are people who have never watched The Godfather. What? It was before I was born. Me too, mother. I still watched it. I still watch it because I understood it was great. But the attitude of children nowadays is I don't need to know anything.
We sound so
now.
old.
That is unbelievable what you did, but he threw in a mother bleeper to make him sound edgier.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours, my son.
I have in front of me a top 10 list from Apple, which has identified the 10 best podcast episodes of 2025. As you know, there are way, way too many podcasts in the universe. Most of them are wildly unsuccessful.
If you don't have a podcast, you're a loser.
But most of them are wildly unsuccessful as
I have 5.
businesses. And there are just too many people talking. It's a very cheap form of entertainment. And it's also somehow the future filled with intimacy because so much programming is expensive. Television is far cheaper if you just make your television a podcast. It's been rather shocking in my lifetime to see ESPN2, which used to be a network that was trying to be the edgier form of ESPN and poured a ton of money into programming, just say, nope, let's just pare this down and make it maximum efficient. The podcast business is our business. It's good for us. We are very grateful that our listeners are the kind of loyal that they are, and they've allowed us to birth one of the very few successful podcast businesses that has emerged in the last few years, which is Pablo Torre Finds Out, which now finds itself in the top 10 from Apple on top 10 episodes of the year. I think there are 2 in here that are cheating, okay? The, New Heights getting Taylor Swift to sit down. It's not just sports. It's all podcasts. It's all forms of intimate talking in podcast form. What are the 10 best episodes of 2025? One of them is cheating when you get Taylor Swift on New Heights because she's engaged to one of the hosts. And Lady Gaga was on another one, but Pablo Torre's episode with Amin about Kawhi Leonard and the Aspiration Clippers scandal is one of the top 10 episodes according to Apple.
How'd the Pete Carroll episode do?
Hey, we're not going to downplay or down-talk my good friends, the Kels brothers. They put out a quality product, okay? And I, for one, am all right with them being ranked ahead of us because it's only 2 spots ahead.
Well, wait
of us.
a minute. I don't think this is ranked in order, is
Oh.
it? I think it's just 10 of them. Otherwise the Lady Gaga episode is being these aren't numbered. It's just 10 the top 10 episodes.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm glad that my good friends, the Kels brothers.
Yo, that's not going to cash on, so stop saying it like that.
That's their name. That's their name. I'm sorry. I like to pronounce people's names correctly.
You're sorry?
You're sorry?
I'm sorry. I'm Canadian today.
You say you like to pronounce their names correctly, but I believe you sided with everyone else when I said FSU's quarterback is named Castellanos. I don't care how he pronounces
Agreed.
it.
Well,
his name is Castellanos.
Dan, I'm with you on this. Whenever it's a name that's pronounced incorrectly because they don't understand the origin of their own name, I'm with you. I'm going to pronounce it right, like Kristen Pulisic with a ch, not a k. Castellanos. Who else? Tom Thibodeau, not Thibodeau.
Greg Cote.
Cote. We'll call you that from now on.
Congratulations, though. I mean, you were on this episode.
Thank
This is you. It wasn't just the story. For those
Clap
of
it
you
up.
who don't know, it was
Clap it up.
Good job, Amin.
Yes, it is.
You, I was you clapping the house.
Good work out of you.
Guys, come on.
Got a
You
lot
don't
of
go for the
nerve
applause.
pointing at the Pope like that.
Too much? Too much applause?
Nah, I'm a modest guy.
The episode that you guys did is not just because of the allegations in it that, is a huge sports story. It was also the way the story was told because Pablo, ever inventive, decided to surprise both David and Amin with the information and didn't get to it, I don't think, until like 30 minutes into the episode, right? The news-breaking portions of that episode, I think, were after the 30-minute mark, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys were just sitting there, both of you were just sitting there waiting for the surprise, and then were genuinely surprised. So congratulations to Amin on that. I wanted to go back to the conversation we were just having.
No speech? Okay. I mean,
Why are you wearing a Rashad McCann shirt?
It's Rayshon Terry.
You can give a speech. I thought you just said while we were applauding, "Stop, guys, stop." I'm a modest
No, but
guy.
that means like keep going.
I know, but it
Have you never watched an award show?
Keep going. I want to make a speech when
Yes.
I wasn't expecting.
Of course.
All right, so go ahead.
It's like, I wasn't expecting this. Let me take this out real quick.
If history has taught you anything, it's that you should follow this thread with Amin and have no regret.
First of all, I'd like to thank Pablo Torre and the entire team for selecting me. I know they could have had any NBA expert who worked in front offices for about 10 years and has a long history of being really great on media. I'm sure there are plenty of those to pick from, but no, they picked me. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to David Sampson, without whom I would have known that we got nominated for this. His tweet basically is what tipped me off to begin with. That's why I didn't have the list. I just saw his tweet. Also, I'd like to thank Dan Le Batard for being so gracious and so kind with his time and his money to allow this podcast to exist right here at Metalog Media. Dan, we couldn't do it without you. What?
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, murdering the show with their bare hands in a dismemberment kit in cold blood.
Really thought it was going to work that time.
The best
Heartfelt.
acceptance speech that has ever been made on this show was Denzel Washington talking about his what should have been his acceptance speech for the great movie Virtuosity.
Let me do my acceptance speech for Virtuosity. Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the Academy, I want to thank you when you were so kind and no, I'm not humble enough. Let me start again. No, I got to get the tears going. Wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen of the Academy, I'm just so humbled that you recognize my great action abilities in Virtuosity, and I want to thank the director, even though I forgot his name, and.
Is he 70 yet? Is Denzel?
I think so.
70 years old. Who is the oldest action star we've got going now?
Liam Neeson, probably.
So he's over 70.
I think he's
right?
aged out. You saw his gait
70
in
on the
Naked
nose.
Gun. That gait, Greeky. Posture. I think he's aged out of action star.
Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Is creaking Liam Neeson? Has he aged out as an action star in his 70s?
Denzel is 71.
Was he creakier than when my man Robert De Niro went to do the kick in The Irishman? Because that was creaky too.
Liam Neeson, 73.
Yeah, he's a little old now.
Well, speaking of old, getting back to the conversation that we were having before, because I was under the impression, whether you're talking about hip-hop being 50 years old or stand-up comedy being something close to 100 years old, maybe it's older than that. I suppose court jesters and all that stuff would make it something that's older than that. But I thought that with art forms in entertainment that moved people or made them laugh, got up in their emotions, I thought that history was respected, even if young people are generally ignorant about history. And I thought that if I said to young people, hey, Eddie Murphy on the Mount Rushmore of comedians, would you put him there? Like, I would assume that you'd respect history in putting together whatever it is your Mount Rushmore is. Like, so if you're here saying to me that Being Eddie doesn't mean anything to you, the documentary, that Eddie Murphy doesn't mean anything to you, then you're also somebody, if we're talking about people who are over 50, who's also not going to have any respect for, hey, you realize that Jamie Foxx is one of the most multifaceted entertainers there's ever been as a talent, or no, you're too young for that because Gold Digger was a long time ago. And like, what is the cutoff on somebody being so legendary and historic, Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, where the talent overwhelms even the ignorance of young people, and you have to say, no, I respect that talent, because you guys are being dismissive of something and someone that I think, obviously, is one of the greats of all time and more talented than almost all of the comedians who have ever done it. Not necessarily as a comedian, though that too, but just in terms of general talent. The acting ability, the being able to have a hit song, the range on that needs to be, I feel like kids need to respect something like that, even if you don't respect history.
Dan, the reason why, if you watch the documentary, they have a Dave Chappelle, a Jamie Foxx, and these got Kevin Hart talking about Eddie in that way is because it's trying to bridge the gap. It's trying to illustrate to a younger audience who might look at those are the biggest comedians of the day, even if they don't think that those are their favorites. They recognize, Dave Chappelle, big-time comedian, Jamie Foxx, big-time comedian, Kevin Hart, and all those guys are telling you, he's the man, right? And what I thought was really curious is that Chappelle kind of, in his own way, identified his generation, which I guess I think on the tail end of that, when he says, I know a lot of people, we respect Richard. Richard's great, but like Eddie was the guy for me. And for me, I know in terms of, stand-up comedy, the first guy that really grabbed me, even though my father had Richard Pryor albums around, it was Eddie Murphy for me. I was always Eddie Murphy, but I think that's an age thing. But the reason why is because they, in the words of Jay-Z, repeat your name so a world with amnesia won't forget your name, right? That's the reason why they do that. But the reality is, for a 25-year-old, most of them haven't even heard of Raw or Delirious.
I think the thing is medium, right? Like, you just said it. Like, there was Richard Pryor albums that you would put in because you didn't have any access to. There weren't specials on TV. There weren't the internet where you could just go in and Google Richard Pryor sets, right? Like, that thing has not been passed down. So nobody's telling younger kids, hey, go check out Richard Pryor on YouTube.
Oh, but what I'm saying about the resume, when Amin says 25-year-olds, on Eddie Murphy's resume before he's 25 is rescued Saturday Night Live. It would not be on today if not for a Eddie Murphy who was younger than 25 when he was on it, and that's not one of the top 5 things on his resume.
Dan, he is the LeBron James of comedy. Like, when you talk about someone that young walking in and being incredible, right? Being just incredible out the gate. When you talk about not being 25, I believe he was 19 years old. He was 19 years old when he went on SNL. I think he was like 21 when he did Trading Places, which I learned for the first time watching that documentary was originally going to be a Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor movie. And I'll be honest, I kind of want to watch that movie. I want to watch the two of them do it because I think, they did the great buddy movies. Would have been real funny. The problem is that Richard Pryor burned himself freebasing cocaine. So couldn't do the movie.
Well, I've seen a couple of interesting reveals in documentary form that way. Charlie Sheen was supposed to be the Karate Kid. He was supposed to be Ralph Macchio and was not. That also is a very good documentary. Both of them I've enjoyed.
Martin Lawrence was supposed to be in Rush Hour, but they chose Chris Tucker because he was cheaper.
Good choice.
Look up who was supposed to be in Bad Boys originally.
Oh, yeah. It was like John Lovitz, right?
And Dana Carvey.
What?
John Lovitz, yes. Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show.
I want to see that movie.
Did you know that John?
I'm Mike Lowry.
Did you know that John Lovitz was supposed to be in Bad Boys at LeBatard Show? So Lane Kiffin appeared on Pat McAfee yesterday, and it created a great deal of outrage that Lane Kiffin, mercenary, does things differently. I feel like we all know that Lane Kiffin was using Mississippi as a stepping stone. If you didn't know it, perhaps you did when he came on with us and he said, yeah, love this brown lake we've got near campus. Like, it's clearly not a place that he wants to be for a long time. I didn't have any illusion that anyone thought he was supposed to be loyal to that place, but people are bothered that he went on McAfee and talked about self-help books and talked about yoga and denied what is being reported as an ultimatum. Hey, Lane, tell us whether you're staying or going because we don't want to have our entire program thrown up in the air by your indecision. But what is Lane's responsibility in the modern age? I do understand that we're applying old standards, rah-rah standards to, hey, coach, be the educator. But come on, we know what this is, don't we? Like, we know that this is a person you rent to give you offense. Like, that's, Mississippi has no claim to loyalty on Lane Kiffin. Mississippi is a stepping stone for every coach that exists that's coming through Mississippi. Nobody's stopping in Mississippi as the destination or dreaming of being Mississippi's coach until they finish their careers. So what is the nature of the outrage? What's happening here that people are getting upset? I understand why Mississippi would get upset, but that people are getting upset with Lane Kiffin for being such a mercenary about this.
I think the only reason that you're getting upset is because they have a legitimate shot to win the national championship. And is there a scenario where he won't even coach them in the playoffs? And who knows if Ole Miss ever has this scenario again. So I think that's the only place that an Ole Miss fan would be upset right now.
Happen to know?
Oh my God, he knows. He happens to know. Come, everyone. Come and listen. Happens to know. He happens to know. Well informed.
There are plenty of people out there that are way more plugged in on this. If you've been following this story, Florida people feel like this is a stone-cold lead pipe.
I think he's the next Florida coach.
I happen to know there are meetings happening this week between the parties.
You happen to know again? Hold on a second. We got to do this correctly.
He happens to know? Great Scott, he happens to know. He happens to know. Gather, everyone. Get the children. He happens to know. So wise.
I'm interested to see how this plays out. We haven't exactly had this situation present itself before, and if he takes that job, does he have a working arrangement that it doesn't affect Ole Miss at all, and he continues finishing that job? How dedicated will they be? Let's say Ole Miss, it would be totally understandable inside the SEC. Mississippi State, even though their arrow isn't pointing up exactly right now.
Sneaky decent Mississippi State, you know that?
Feisty.
You were on that.
Egg Bowl can be close. If Ole Miss drops that game, understandably so, well, how does a committee look at what's happening with Ole Miss? We know how they looked at what happened with Florida State and Jordan Travis. Is there a scenario in which Ole Miss leaves Ole Miss entirely during the CFP, and now the committee is looking at an Ole Miss coming off a loss in the Egg Bowl, potentially not playing in the SEC championship? How do they look at that? It would be curious.
You do the same thing with the coach that you do with the quarterback? Because FSU was undefeated, but
they
because
are so tied. Whoa.
You're right, Dan?
Wow. That was emotional.
TCU horn frog in your throat.
They are so tied. Sorry.
College joke.
Wow, that was weird.
Rough week.
They are so tied to Lane Kiffin.
You think
that is their identity.
You think they get punished? That Ole Miss gets punished because you don't?
I do.
You don't think that Trinidad Chambliss is enough? I think that I think the reason that the reason that FSU was knocked out at 13-0 is because everyone knew that once they lost their starting quarterback, that changes the entirety of how it is they play football. You're of the belief that if Mississippi loses Lane Kiffin, he's the only one who can coach offense that way for them?
I don't know. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm asking you if you'd like to. We have a breaking news story here.
Yo, stop laughing. It's not funny.
Hey, you're a sucker. You're a sucker. You're a sucker. Suck of the day. You.
Yo,
sucker.
I don't appreciate it. It's not funny.
Hey,
Y'all
sucker.
laughing at me.
That's the breaking news. He's a
16
sucker.
minutes ago, Zaslow tweeted out something. He's selling Bitcoin now, apparently on Twitter.
Oh,
I think he's been hacked.
It's not funny, man.
Sucker move.
So all of
I
you
used to be skeptical about Bitcoin.
Can you guys
What did
stop-
I say? Tell me what I said.
Hold on. Can you stop for a second? Because you guys are interrupting the show, laughing at something that you have not yet introduced to the audience, okay? I see the entire room laughing while I'm trying to engage everyone in a conversation about whether it matters that Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss, and none of you are listening to me because Zaslow was hacked. Do you think you should explain that to the audience before you start giggling about it?
It's not funny.
They have a screen cap of what is purported to be Jonathan Zaslow's crypto account.
What
It says
I saw.
Jonathan
Hey, you got
Zaslow.
money.
Apparently, you have $80,000 in your crypto.
wow.
Is that from the bar mitzvah?
Big thanks to @whoever hacked you. What a smooth withdrawal. I used to be skeptical about Bitcoin, but with her guidance, I've been making real profits. Just got paid straight to my bank account. the celebratory party hat emoji. If you're curious, check her out. I'm so glad I did 100 emoji.
You see, you know how it's bullshit? It's not me. I never use emojis. It's not me.
What happened here? And you're just learning, like, what happened that this interrupted? Did you tell them? Did they tell you?
Okay,
Somebody didn't tell me while I was doing the show, and all of you just started laughing and enjoying yourselves and
I didn't like that.
forgot to do the show with me. Would you like to explain
I
to
didn't
me,
like that.
and as an added bonus, the audience, what happened?
So I tried to get onto Twitter here because I'm trying to learn stuff that we're talking about, and I couldn't sign on, and it's making me do all kinds of garbage to get back on. It's not letting me, and I'm like, I wonder if someone's getting up in my business. And so then I asked Chris because it won't even let me check if I've been hacked. I have no access. So then I asked Chris, "Yo, can you check my Twitter? Something weird might be happening."
And then I saw he was, and I just started showing everyone here.
And then everyone's laughing at me. I don't like it.
Instead of doing your job,
I was like, guys,
This is important.
Instead of answering Zaz's question, you just distracted me while I was talking and made it so that no one can answer my question because too many people were busy laughing at something that me and Zaz were excluded.
This is bigger than all of us.
Like I said to Chris, I asked Chris, can you go on, can you check my Twitter right now and see if anything weird's happening? And 3 seconds later, all of a sudden, Chris turns around and everyone's, everyone's laughing.
For the record, I don't think Ole Miss should be penalized if Lane Kiffin leaves. I want to make that clear. I'm just asking the question.
I don't think that anyone other than you is asking that question.
I mean, they did it with Jordan Travis.
I know, but a quarterback and a coach are not the same thing.
You were right. Lane Kiffin is way more identified with that program than Jordan Travis was.
Not as important to the result on the field in any one. Wait a minute.
He is a cult of personality. Everyone assigns their success. Everyone attributes their success directly to that offensive mind calling plays.
Okay, so you're of the belief. You're of the belief that if I take Lane Kiffin, give the team one loss like it has right now, but I take Lane Kiffin off of their sideline.
Tony's calling plays now.
For the playoffs, you're of the belief that the committee or a committee member would say to themselves, I don't believe that team has a chance anymore in the playoffs because Lane Kiffin is not there, the same way that I believe that the undefeated FSU team doesn't have a chance because their quarterback broke his leg.
I don't think it's word for word what you said, but I do think it affects their ranking. I don't think it should cost them the CFP, but it might cost them a home game. I think if you're parsing between Alabama and Ole Miss loses that game, I mean, one loss, absolutely not, because there they'd be proving that they could win without Lane Kiffin. But say they drop that Egg Bowl to Mississippi State, I do think that there are people in the committee that may take away a home game from that team.
Do you realize that what you're doing there, if indeed anyone is doing that, and I don't believe they are, but if anyone is doing that, what you're doing, There might be one other coach in the entire sport, it'd be Cignetti, that you do that with, and you wouldn't do it with Cignetti. Like, you would not offer Cignetti. Like, Lane Kiffin would literally be the only person in the sport you're asking that question about.
Greg Sankey must be emailing you, because where is this passion when it comes
Talking
to
points,
Utah
Dan. Propaganda.
and Miami's head-to-head?
It's just a weird question that you're asking because it's not something I've ever considered.
I mean, they make no sense. The deer in headlights spokesperson makes zero sense. Well, of course, it would be something that could pop up out of nowhere.
But it makes sense when it's the focal point of the team and not making it because of that thing happening, right? If it's Jordan Travis breaking his leg, why not just throw in a backup quarterback?
But I don't think
your
that
play caller's gone. You're going to bring some guy from upstairs to call plays?
I think Trinidad Chambliss is more important to what it is that they're doing, and that if he was out, it would be more important.
The dude from Ferris State? But I hear you, but the guy that made Trinidad Chambliss a name you know,
but he's going to forget how to quarterback.
Ferris State
He's going to forget how to play
what
football.
A name.
Is Lane Kiffin.
He's going to forget how to play football.
I'm with you,
but it's his plays.
There's a. Did you not see that show yesterday? There's a whole bunch of asinine that happened.
I think there's an important distinction. Dan, you're kind of looking at it almost like it's basketball. Like, oh no, he knows how to play. You can't roll the ball out in football. It is still play calling.
It's play calling. It's prep. It's
leadership.
Yes.
I'm not saying that Lane Kiffin's not important to what Mississippi does, but what you just did was make him the most important coach in all of college football, because there's no second coach that you're asking that question about.
Correct. I think
you're not doing it with Ryan Day.
Correct. I think that Lane Kiffin.
There's got to be other coaches.
There has to be other play callers that would be valuable.
In terms of being assigned the success of a program, like he is the cult of personality. He is the name you think of when you think of that program, maybe for all time.
I would say the drop-off between if Lane Kiffin were to leave for the playoffs and whoever's going to wind up taking over for the postseason.
Is it Charlie Weiss's kid? That's the OC?
The drop-off from Lane to that guy, I do think would be more significant than the drop-off to say if they lost Trinidad Chambliss to whoever the backup is.
Oh, my God.
It is Charlie Weiss Jr.
No, guys.
You don't think so?
No, guys. They've been working. Look, all year they've been working on whatever it is that they do offensively in practice. You need a good quarterback in order to do that. I don't assume that a backup quarterback can just come in and do what Trinidad Chambliss is doing.
It's not a backup quarterback like a backup in the NFL.
The backup quarterback for FSU won the ACC championship game for the
backup
record.
QBs can be good at
and
college.
I should produce for First Take because this was a winner.
Also, if you look in the NFL game.
So this is funny breaking news here.
Oh, my God. What?
Zaz got hacked again?
Yo, you better not say anything
Sucka.
about my Twitter, man.
Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, just tweeted to Pablo Torre finds out for being one of the best podcasts of 2025. You're welcome.
No.
Heady play. I mean, she's.
It wasn't her podcast that was nominated as
wasn't
one
even
of
the
the
episode.
top.
It was the stepping stone. It was the stepping stone. They were a part of it.
It was the Mississippi job. Jordan Hudson.
That's amazing that it wasn't that episode.
Also amazing here is that Pablo responded, of course, by inviting her on, and that Bill Belichick attended her adult cheerleading competition last night and looked bored and tired.
Oye, Pablo no tiene pena de nada. El tipo, oye, ven para acá, vamos a hacer un podcast. No, deja eso.
Yeah.
Bird.
Tony's so right.
Yeah, he is.
Pablo is shameless. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Pablo Torre more shameless than Donald Trump?
When it comes to him, I mean, God. Inviting people on your podcast 24/7. Anytime I see a reply from Pablo, it's come on the podcast. I'm like, dude, shut up.
I'll take a stab at this question. No.
The Lane Kiffin one, or
I'm surprised that she spelled "you're welcome" correctly.
You just said shut up, and I think that's something you should immediately take back.
Shut up for a second here.
Get me the entire sound there so that I can hear and that the audience can hear how it is that Cleveland radio host arrived, how quickly that radio host arrived after arguing about Shedeur Sanders at saying shut up and then immediately taking it back with a rare moment of self-awareness, because I really think that shut up in sports radio should escalate to no, you shut up, or don't tell me to shut up. But the apology was so fast here that I believe that the shut up almost got drowned out by the apology.
They used the term development. I didn't use the term development.
But that's not what
you
this,
didn't.
That's,
they
that's
did.
just not
so
what
I'm
this.
going to blame them.
That's not what this league is. This
it doesn't matter what this league is. It's who they are.
But this league is not, Kenny, about making sure to force feed a 5th-round pick that should not have been drafted after they took a 3rd-round quarterback. That is not what this league is. We're not a charity case. This league is not set up to make sure that Deion Sanders' son gets 1,000 reps. I'm sorry, Josina, and I'm sorry, Ken, and I'm sorry all these people that are trying to act like the Browns are sabotaging him. He's a 5th-round pick.
I didn't say it was
What are you
sabotage.
guys expecting this league is about?
Hold on.
This isn't Little League.
Hold on.
This isn't T-ball.
Hold on.
We're not trying to foster some great environment for kids to learn.
It's
the NFL.
This is not sports talk radio in Seattle.
My God.
This isn't. No, shut up for a second here. Sorry to say it like that.
ridiculous.
I take that word away.
Oh,
I take the shut up part away. But let me get back to the matter because now.
Why'd Seattle catch a stray?
Dan, I think I have an explanation. Without happening to know anything. Just by reading the body language, the way he retracted that shut up so quickly, they must have had an HR violation in that office at some point. Wow. Somebody complained about the use of the word shut up, and it's a little hurtful and a little too grinding, and if we could really not do that anymore. And so he said it, and instantly his mind went back to the HR meeting, and that's when he went into immediate apology.
Shut up for a second here. Sorry to say
ridiculous.
it like that. I take that word away. I take the shut up part away.
Either that or his significant other has been on his ass about it.
Shut up for a second here. Sorry to say it like
ridiculous.
that. I take that word away. I take the shut up part away.
It's a good question. Is it about HR or is it about the wife?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is shut up one word? Because I thought it was 2 words. Is it one word?
It could also be a parenting thing where he's told his kids, we don't say shut up in this house. And then he said it, he immediately was like, no, my parenting.
Do you realize in the way that they were discussing it, okay, they kept interrupting each other, okay? They were very good at interrupting each other to the point that the host got mad and said, shut up. Do you know how fast you have to be in order to get the apology in before the person's even been offended? Because he took it back almost before he'd finished saying the P and shut up.
Shut up for a second here. Sorry to say
ridiculous.
it like that. I take that word away. I take the shut up part away.
Shut up. Sorry to say that.
Dan, that's a conversation that's happened. That's a conversation specifically about the use of the word shut up that's already happened. He says shut up instinctively, and then he realizes, I don't want to get in trouble.
Shut up for a second here. Sorry to say it
ridiculous.
like that. I take that word away. I take the shut up part away.
What does he say back to him after he said it sounds ridiculous?
Shut up for a second here. Sorry to say it like that.
ridiculous.
I take that word away. I take the shut up part away.
That's okay, Ken.
Oh, he was really forgiving.
So it's not him then. It's definitely not
It sounds like Anthony understands that sometimes Ken loses control.
Shut up for a second here. Sorry to
Sound
say it
ridiculous.
like that. I take that word away. I take the shut up part
At
away.
first, it's like, you sound ridiculous. Oh, you just said sorry? It's okay. I forgive you.
because he's a good teammate, number 1, but also number 2, this tells me even more. It's an HR edict, man. It's not the wife at home saying don't say it. It's not the wife saying about, the kids, you told them not to, you shut up. That's hey, I don't want my teammate getting in trouble because we're having a good conversation.
Shut up for a second here. Sorry to
Sound
say it
ridiculous.
like that. I take that word away. I take the shut up part away.
If we put up the picture of them arguing again, you can kind of tell who's the guy that's about to say shut up and who's not. So Ken is a shade of red that is shut up.
It is absolutely radioactive colored Brian Kelly. Yes, that is absolutely what's happening there. You can tell by the red in that man's face that
there's a shut up coming.
There's just a temper control problem. Like
Shut up for a second here. Sorry to
Sound
say it like
ridiculous.
that. I take that word away. I take the shut up part away.
Might be a therapist thing or like a doctor thing. Like, hey, Ken.
That is the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima on 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland.
Shout out.
You get a little elevado. Okay, we need you to be down here instead of up here. We need you to be tranqui-tropi. Okay, not aborotado como tú estás. Tú estás aborotado. No puedes estar así.
Shut
Un
up
poquito
for a
más.
second here. Sorry to
Sound
say it
ridiculous.
like that.
How,
I
Bobby?
take that word away. I take the shut up part away.
I'd like to go back to Pablo for a second, if I may. Oh, God. And what he reposted, which is Bill Belichick spotted at a cheerleading competition in Raleigh, North Carolina. If I put the top 10 things that you would hate to have to do, but you do it because you love someone, where would going to an adult cheerleading competition rank?
for him. Not for just anybody, for him.
You think maybe this gets him out of like Thanksgiving with her family? He's like, all right,
no,
I can't make it to Thanksgiving, but I will be to this thing you got to do.
I mean, he did a stupid photo shoot on the beach with her. You know, that's got to be ranked pretty high.
That has to be up.
He's done multiple stupid photo shoots on the beach.
You guys say they're stupid photo shoots, but I don't feel like he was not enjoying the photo shoots. I can say without having seen anything that he did not enjoy the adult cheerleading competition.
I'm looking at the picture right now. He's not. He's
The picture looks like he's sleeping, right? He kind of has his eyes shut.
No, that's the Bill.
Looking down at a phone kind of situation.
That's the Bill Belichick, I'm pissed look. I've seen that many a time on the sideline. No, man, this guy doesn't want to be there. Nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to watch cheerleading. Do they? Does anyone actually enjoy just the watching of cheerleading?
Be careful.
Of course. I mean, of course, some
people who aren't cheerleaders. Obviously, for them, people who are into the cheerleading culture, it's a big deal. It's like me liking watching basketball. But if you're not into it, I just cannot imagine people like, great, let's watch these people.
Well, to answer your question, this may surprise you, but absolutely, I will stop on a choreographed dance routine that is televised cheerleading competitions that they used to do on ESPN, and I would stop on those.
I'm an ally.
I'm an ally.
That's not even being an ally. That's just,
Dan,
I don't think that's an ally. I think that's simply something that a lot of people would stop on. I think that's why it was televised.
Dan, not since Justin Long in Dodgeball have I ever sat there and watched a cheerleading competition.
Bring It On was last time for me.
Oh, it's a good movie.
A great movie.
Dodgeball's a great movie. What are you guys doing?
I never seen Dodgeball.
What?
Whatever, man.
Tell you, this guy's a sucker. He's been a sucker since day one.
I already told you about that.
Like,
But he's
hold
very
on.
wealthy in crypto.
Hold on. We got to.
Well, not anymore.
I don't know how to do this, but I've been wanting to do a couple of different things, okay? And I think this is one we can do with Zaslow. I don't know exactly how to do it. You guys help me think this out on air. If you don't get distracted by him being hacked or anything else.
I'm trying, Dan.
Has anyone noticed
He's a
that I'm
sucker.
hacked?
He's doing sucker things.
I believe that getting a review of Dodgeball from Zaz, watching it for the first time, would feel to me not unlike some of these videos in my algorithm that I watch of, for example, young people being introduced to In the Air Tonight or Stairway to Heaven, or when a generation, several generations removed from something that was popular, you get to watch the awe and discovery of someone hearing or watching something for the first time that you already like. I thought that we should do this. I requested this a couple of months ago. I thought we should do this with seminal sporting moments that some of the young people around here might not have any sort of reference points for that the rest of us have enjoyed.
I like
Wide
that.
right?
Just anything. Just
I like
it could
that.
be. It could be anything. It could be Marshawn Lynch in a golf cart on the Cal field after the game, just doing wheelies in circles.
Oh, so other teams, not just Florida State.
What is your hacking update?
You're asking me. Dan, I've been hacked.
One tweet.
I don't have access to my Twitter.
There's no update. That one tweet went out. Nothing since.
Should we respond and interact with it?
We
as
can't.
We can't?
We cannot because they blocked whoever it was. So the only person that you can reply to that tweet to is the person that they tagged.
know.
But I don't want to click the tag because then I might get hacked and I'm not a sucker.
I know this because I wanted to retweet it and I couldn't.
We can't quote tweet it?
No, we can't do anything to it.
Damn.
I was going to ask Grok, hey, Grok, did Zaz get hacked or is he a sucker?
I was going to say, hey, Zaz, thanks. Like, kind of just pretend like it's still Zaz.
It's bullshit, man. I don't like this. Why is there a bagel in front of me with cream cheese?
If Zaz is doing it, I'm in.
Can you explain whether or not you'd be willing to do the dodgeball experiment? Because I am guaranteeing you that you will find dodgeball funny. And I'm surprised you have not seen dodgeball, because not only will you find dodgeball funny, I'm guaranteeing you that your kids will find it funny if you watch it with their kids.
Yep.
There's no circumstance under which Zaz wouldn't find dodgeball funny. Like I honestly think that Ben Stiller is underrated as a comedic genius, even though he's very highly rated as a comedic genius coming from a family of comedic geniuses. You talk about somebody being great at a young age. That guy had a variety show in his 20s just because his parents, he descends from variety show legend.
He works hard.
You know what, Dan? I'm going to say this. The Ben Stiller experience, right? The legacy is muddied. You know what it's muddied by? All his goofy ass Knicks tweets. Who's ruined his legacy more? Ben Stiller or Bill Belichick?
Night at the Museum didn't help.
Oh,
Right,
how
that's a
dare
good
you?
movie. That's a good
That's
movie.
a good movie.
Yeah, File.
You can't be criticizing.
I'm just saying that's one of the misses for me.
No way.
You don't know comedy.
Not only he does after comedy. Like I don't know, I don't even know where you'd find Escape from Dannemora now, which he directed. But it's
excellent.
great.
I know what that is, but tell Zaz.
You would love that show.
Really? Okay.
You would love that show,
Locked
Tony.
in. After Running Man.
The Arkansas athletic director is still hovering over the shoulder of Mike Ryan. Jessica Smetana must be loving everything that's happening exactly how she said it would go with Notre Dame and Miami.
Should we make them promise to play nice here? Or how should we do this on the front
No,
end?
well, first what we're going to do is play the useless sound montage, and then we're going to get to Jessica. But they don't have to promise to play nice. This is going to be Mike Ryan really pissed off, as he has been for the last few days. And I think that Jessica can dance and gloat with a victory lap because everything that's happened with Notre Dame is exactly what she said was going to happen with Notre Dame. So let's play the useless sound montage.
All right, what a day.
This was a rough night.
Yeah, I've never been in a city this big and this clean before. All wins are good.
It's hard to, go on the road to Tampa.
But like I told them, man,
we got beat every which way you could possibly be beat.
I'm grateful to be a part of this team. I love the way that they just stay connected. They stay together. They're never out of the fight.
We had a good game plan. When you score 32 points, you're supposed to win.
We were hunting up front, that's for sure. This is not a one-way street where everything is on the players. Coaches is involved in that too.
At the end of the day, it's about making plays.
What a great opportunity for us to be able to learn some things offensively.
We needed to do better. We got beaten every possible way.
From the beginning, executed.
But that's life. It's good to learn.
I'm excited we're 9-2. I'm excited that I don't have to see him until Monday.
But we're never going to apologize for finding ways to be able to win.
I mean, it really was kind of one of those days. I hate saying that, but it was just a little bit of one of those days.
We were playing 7-on-7 football, starting from the midfield and beyond the entire game. That's tough to do in the NFL.
It's really disappointed that we didn't stop him.
Why would you ask me a question? You trying to bait me? You going to get me fined right there?
Details and discipline. That was a box that we didn't check off today.
The most important thing is, just secure the W.
Gonna fly back to L.A.?
You want to talk about some good bread? Anywhere I go, there's awesome bread.
Percentages, you're going to take a few and lose a few of those.
And that's why I say stats are for losers.
We got challenged in a lot of ways, but you're going to get challenged in the National Football League on weekends.
When defense gave us a stop, we turned it into points, and then vice versa. If we got stopped, defense would go back and forth with that.
I don't think we have any more plays left on the call sheet.
We play better, pissed off.
Yeah, we got beat every which way you could get beat.
At that point where we got to find a way just to win football games and got to keep moving forward. That's what this league's all about.
I didn't help those guys, and I hate that.
Doesn't matter what I think. I'm not the ones making the calls. So
I thought Trevor was playing really well, especially, just spitting the ball accurately.
You got to be able to throw short and run long sometimes.
You're trying to look at everything while also trying to focus on what you're doing, so you never try to relax.
And whether we came up short and they make that field goal or whether we end up winning, there's nothing like celebrating with those guys.
You don't make that decision unless, I thought the play was going to work and it didn't.
The guys just executed and played their tails off.
We got stability at the safety position, other than, Jalen not finishing the game.
Hawaii. So the United States again, but just go play in Hawaii. I think that'd be pretty cool. But in Europe, shoot, it'd be pretty cool to go play in Jerusalem. I don't know. That'd be sick.
Roy, were you laughing because of Mike Tomlin speaking in poems? You got to be able to throw short and run long sometimes.
Yes. That doesn't make any sense.
Splash.
He's great at little poems that say nothing. McVay's hard charging when it comes to saying little coach gibberish that doesn't mean anything. And then I'm pretty sure I heard Mike Ryan in there. Did I?
That was Pete Carroll.
The most important thing is, just secure the W.
That was not Pete Carroll.
Yeah,
no.
I hear the chewing of gum.
The most important thing is, just secure the W.
Pete Carroll. Pregame of Monday night, I think.
If last week's game for the Chiefs was a must-win against the Broncos and they lost it, what's this week's game against the Colts?
Must win. Double must.
Season ender if they lose.
Waterloo.
Jessica Smetana is with us now, and there's plenty in college football to talk about. I want to bring her in on the Lane Kiffin conversation that we were having earlier. the alleged ultimatum that he denied on the Pat McAfee show. What do you make of everything happening there? And what did you make of Mike Ryan's contention that the question that if Lane Kiffin doesn't coach during the playoff games, that the committee might consider just taking him and Mississippi out entirely the same way they did FSU when they lost a critical piece and were undefeated?
Yeah. I don't know what would happen if that's the case. That's why this is so crazy, because Ole Miss is actually in a better position this year than they were last year into getting into the playoff. That would not be the case if they had actually lost to Florida last weekend, which looked like it could happen. But it's one of those things where at first, it's like when you're in a relationship, if you have to give the other person an ultimatum, you should probably just break up. Like, they've already kind of broken up with you at that point. You don't really want to get to the ultimatum route. Obviously, his denial was noteworthy. He said that's absolutely not true. There's been no ultimatum, anything like that. And I don't know where that came from. Like, a lot of stuff out there. He then posts, his Tumblr, poems and stuff on his Twitter account afterwards. But yeah, reportedly his family was in Gainesville and Baton Rouge last week. So that is where it's coming from. I think he knows that. And The Athletic and both them and On3 said there was an ultimatum. So I don't know. You could believe Lane Kiffin or believe the reporting. Either way, we all know he's sniffing around. He hasn't signed an extension yet at Ole Miss. So it would not surprise anyone if he took one of these jobs, as we all kind of expected when they both became open.
Did you hear Kim Mulkey weigh in on the situation?
No.
She took all the air out of it. She was on the Zoom leaning in he's meeting in Gainesville. Stop asking him. I know everybody here is so interested in Lane Kiffin.
She was joking about the lack of reporters there. She goes, you guys are all on the Lane beat right now.
I'll do this for you. He's in Gainesville.
You mentioned, though, Jessica, who do you believe?
I like her.
Lane Kiffin or the reporting? You believe the reporting, right?
I mean, maybe there wasn't necessarily a direct ultimatum given, but maybe, maybe they're both right. Maybe they've told him, hey, you need to make a choice about this. Maybe they didn't give him a deadline of the Egg Bowl or whatever it is. But I think both can kind of be true, right? I mean, maybe we're just splitting hairs. He didn't necessarily say, I'm not looking into other jobs. He said there's no ultimatum.
Put it on the poll, please. If you have to give a person an ultimatum, should you just break up? I was asking earlier, would there be any other coach in the nation, any other coach, that you wouldn't laugh at the possibility if that person doesn't coach in the playoffs, then maybe his team shouldn't be in the playoffs, even if his team deserves to be in the playoff? What Mike Ryan was suggesting there is not something I would apply to any other coach in that sport.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about all that, but I do think if he did leave the team and then they went into the playoffs and won a game, I mean, that would have to crush him, right? That he's been wanting to be in the playoffs this whole time, and for that to finally happen, it's the same reason why Brian Kelly was criticized so much when he left Cincinnati before a New Year's Six game and left Notre Dame while they were still in the conversation for the 4-team playoff. It would be a terrible and unprecedented thing, almost unprecedented thing to do, to leave your team before a playoff. So that's why I can't really apply any sort of precedent for it.
What did you make of yesterday's made-for-television stupidity?
Honestly, I don't think that Miami's necessarily out of it. I think there's still a dozen or so games left that are going to matter a lot to this. I mean, the Oregon-USC game this weekend is going to be huge. Obviously, the Iron Bowl is always, even without Hugh Freeze, I mean, maybe even because Hugh Freeze is gone, is going to be a good one. We still don't know who's even going to play in the SEC championship game because there's a number of scenarios there. We don't know who's going to play in the ACC championship. There's still a backdoor way Miami gets into it. So I don't know. My opinion since the first ranking came out was we have to just let some of these games play out. It's possible Notre Dame could stumble against one of their next opponents. And I don't even mean necessarily just lose, but obviously the committee will look at if they have game control. That's something that they care about a lot. Same goes for Miami. Same goes for BYU and Utah and Vanderbilt and Alabama. So I'm not going to I'm not counting my chickens, Dan. I'm not booking my ticket to Oklahoma for the first round playoff game against Notre Dame. But also, when I came on the show 2 weeks ago after the first ranking, I thought Mike was going to be really mad and yell at me, and he was totally defeated and was like, yeah, we played like crap and like blah, blah, blah. Miami needs to look at themselves in the mirror. And now it's like, okay, I feel like it's kind of late for all this. Like, this has been the case now for over 2 weeks.
You can count your chickens. You can count them.
I'm not counting my chickens.
You can count them, though. Notre Dame can count its chickens. What do you mean? You're playing like Syracuse. You don't have anything left.
Yeah, but I think that what the committee head said last night was that if Miami and Notre Dame get closer, maybe they will factor in a head-to-head. But right now they're not in the same pod, and they've ranked the teams. I know you guys have already discussed this by now, but like 3 at a time, they'll do, or Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama were the 3 that they were debating the order of in this ranking. It wasn't Alabama, Miami, and Notre Dame, or Vanderbilt, Alabama, Notre Dame. So I think it's possible that there is some sort of upset in the middle there, and it brings the 2 teams closer together. I also think like if that is the case, then both teams should make it. I think Miami is a good football team.
Jessica, another big question today regarding Notre Dame is: does Notre Dame have to kick back to the Vatican? Like, do they got to
No, I don't think.
Again with this?
Notre Dame's
I let him
endowment's
go.
probably.
I let him go. I'm like,
Minor
okay,
penalty, 2 minutes,
we have some
dumpster juice
discourse here,
take.
but Amin has something good here.
Imagine that, guys. I try to get Jessica's answer. She's enthusiastic and want to give it. And what do you guys do? Talk over her allies? I think not.
Okay.
Thanks, Amin.
I got your back.
The Vatican probably, in terms of their art collection, real estate, etc., I think that's more valuable. But in terms of like monetary endowment funds, Notre Dame probably has close to the same amount of money as them in their endowment. I mean, I think maybe it's the other.
That can't be
What?
true.
No,
Notre Dame's got like a
right.
$13 billion endowment.
She said it like this, though.
They have a
guys, so.
crazy endowment.
Vatican has their own city in the world.
That's
their
what I
own
said,
country.
Tony. Did you listen to the first part of what I said?
Martin
I've
also
been
has
there.
his own city.
I've been there. My point is, okay.
Okay, but if you do say it like that, it does make me believe you more when you do it with clenched teeth and sort of let some of the words sneak out between your teeth.
If I may jump in, I understand what they said. Somehow Notre Dame is in a different tier because of its loss to Miami than the tier that Miami
Pods
gets
or
to be in
tiers?
for beating them. We're not going to agree on we're not going to agree on Miami Notre Dame, but they're separated by 3 teams. Like this was my issue with yesterday's television show. The chair said a bunch of things that made no sense. 3 teams is not close enough to start counting head to head.
Mike, if I may say, I agree with you. Letting humans decide on these very complicated orderings of teams with a million variables is, I mean, there's always going to be bad choices made. We should just let the computers do it again. And by the way, the computers have Notre Dame ahead of Miami,
Right.
as do the BCS rankings.
Right. We got away from the computers because they didn't take into account head to head, and that pissed us off. And now here's a committee doing the same thing. But I want to move on to some other things Hunter Yurachek said. You shouldn't be leaving one of these with more questions and more conflicts and more hypocrisies. This is something that he said basically in the same breath. He said that Oregon still gets credit for beating Penn State, even though the Nittany Lions fell off after that game. And in the same breath said, it hurts Virginia that Louisville fell out of the rankings. That was one of their best wins. This makes 0 sense. And it's a hell of their own design.
The Penn State-Oregon thing is one of those like human calls that is difficult to really wrap your head around, because Penn State had not played anyone out of conference that was good before the Oregon game. But we watched the Oregon game, and Penn State was toe-to-toe with them. And if you think Oregon's a good team, which I think is also up for debate, I actually think that this USC game, it might be a playoff eliminator for Oregon. I don't see a way with their resume that they stay in the top 10, I guess, if they lose to USC this weekend. Right now, they're 8-point favorites at home. That's because that Penn State game really hasn't aged well. But I mean, I think like that one, I don't know what you do with that, Mike. Like, I don't know what you do with that. Penn State obviously completely fell down the crapper afterwards and fired James Franklin. But they are a good football team statistically in some of the advanced analytics, despite the fact that they barely have a Power 4 win. So I don't know. I think that's like totally human judgment call that I don't know what you do with.
They clearly pick and choose the advanced analytics because Miami has 4 top 40 SAG wins, and that doesn't take into account. But I think one of the more curious things
the SAG,
here, Jess,
if you also want to look at like SAG ratings, Notre Dame is ahead of Miami in that. Too.
Yeah, look, this is all data points, and those are all really good tiebreakers, just like quality loss is a good tiebreaker in the committee's own words in the event that there isn't a head-to-head. But in Miami and Notre Dame's case, there is a head-to-head. Also, if you apply the quality loss, quality win logic, there's no reason you should be ahead of BYU if you're Notre Dame. But the thing that I
think that the committee, though, is looking at the Texas A&M game, which was a 1-point loss that Notre Dame had at home, and they're just not really dinging them for it because that game came down to like a botched hold.
All right, well, I ding
them. That's just what I think about like quality loss or whatever. I think they're saying like that game's basically a toss-up. Like that was a 1-point game against a team that's now still undefeated and probably has a pretty good chance at making the SEC championship game as long as they beat Texas.
I'm not knocking Notre Dame's playoff credentials. I think them being ahead of Alabama is the right thing. I think Notre Dame is a playoff team. I think Notre Dame is a playoff team.
No, but you think they should be ahead of Alabama?
Yeah, because Alabama lost to a trash cellar dweller from the ACC in Florida State. But the thing that I'm most curious by is them backlogging the top 25 with teams that can boost resumes when they don't deserve to be in there. I highlighted Arizona State. Their best win Arizona State at number 25. That represents Utah's best win. Jeff Sims was at quarterback there. Arizona State is not ranked in the AP. They are not ranked in the coaches poll. They are behind SMU and Louisville and others receiving votes there. However, they find themselves at number 25, conveniently a week after Utah's athletic director joins the committee. Also, you take number 20 Tennessee and number 22 Missouri. Those two teams have combined for 0 FBS wins against teams above 500. They are just there to reverse engineer arguments for the teams that are in the top 15.
I hear you. I think that like even if you look at this week's AP poll, I believe North Texas, the last 5 or 6 are Tennessee, JMU, North Texas, Missouri, Tulane, and Houston. I feel like we're kind of splitting hairs there. Like I think JMU is not in the CFP rankings because their strength of schedule is not good enough. Like they have one loss to an Power 4 team in Louisville. Louisville's not ranked in either after I don't know if you guys watched the Friday night Louisville Clemson game. What a freaking disaster that was. I mean, just a horrible game. But then I don't know. Tulane, they need to put in there. I think that's fair across both the CFP and the AP. Missouri is in both. Like North Texas has a really bad loss, but they're 9-1. They still have a pretty good shot at winning their conference. Mike, I just don't know how you backfill that and compare like Illinois to North Texas. Like I don't think that that's necessarily wrong. It's just like depends on what you care about when you're ranking them. Like Illinois has beaten better teams than North Texas has. They've also lost by 50 points to Indiana. So
I'm not even using the group of 5 in this argument. Like Tennessee at 20 and Mizzou at 22, they are only that high in this CFP to boost the argument for teams that are actually in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Tennessee, I can see that. I think their best win is probably
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
That's a joke.
Yeah,
that's a joke.
That's sneaky decent.
Why are they ranked ahead of SMU? It's a joke.
Because SMU lost to a pretty bad Baylor team, and they lost to a pretty bad Wake Forest team by 1 point. Only scored 12 points in that game.
We're talking about losses, though,
and lost to TCU, which is also
and
not
beat
a great
Miami.
Loss.
But like you have to ask, who did Tennessee beat? Why? What is this mental programming that the CFP has where they value quality losses more than head-to-head matchups, more than quality wins? The point of football is to win a game, and we're out here arguing. We're entering every debate with who did they lose to? It's so
philosophically, dumb. I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't even really disagree with you on any of it. I think that they're just, whether you agree with their logic or not, like they're looking at a team's ceiling versus their floor. And if your floor is a lot lower than another team's floor, I think they're dinging you for it.
Jess,
I don't know if I agree with it, but
Jess, are you going to have a problem if in a couple weeks the Canes, they win their games, so they wind up moving up a couple spots, let's say, in the playoff rankings, and then the committee does exactly what Juracek said was, okay, Now Notre Dame and Miami are close together, so we got to evaluate them. Miami then jumps Notre Dame, and Notre Dame finds itself out. How mad are you going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be disappointing, but I also think that, like, Notre Dame knew going into week 3 against Texas A&M that they probably needed to win that game to be a lock in the playoff, and they lost by 1 point. Now, I think Notre Dame has vastly improved in the last 8 games, and I think the committee's taken note of that. Their defense is basically shutting out teams in the second half. They've held their last, however many opponents to only a touchdown, maybe 2. This last game against Pitt, they shut out the offense until the last 4 seconds of the game when they scored in garbage time. So I think Notre Dame is totally deserving. And of course, I'm extremely biased. And I think they're also probably taking into account that CJ Carr was playing his first road game against Miami as the starting quarterback, et cetera. But I think that that's Notre Dame knew if they were going to start 0-2, they would have to get a little lucky with the rest of the teams in the standings. And so far they have gotten lucky, but we know that there's still 2 games left. And like I said earlier, if Notre Dame even has any sort of, close game against Stanford, I think that could end up hurting them too, even if they win.
Check out her extremely biased Notre Dame podcast with Mike
That's
Golick
right.
Jr., the Echoes. I'd be totally fine with North Texas being in the playoffs. I'd be totally fine just choosing the 12 best quarterbacks and putting them in the playoffs. I think Drew Mestemaker is one of the 12 best quarterbacks in the country.
He's good. I think that I feel bad for the G5 teams this year. I think everyone's mad at them, and they're also in 2 large conferences where they can't all play against each other, and whoever ends up making it is going to be a multi-touchdown underdog, and they're going to get laughed at, and I'm going to feel bad for them, and it's going to make me feel bad, even though it shouldn't, because this is the playoff format that we all decided on when there were 5 power conferences, and now there's only 4.
Jessica, do you know anyone who's not already a cheerleader who watches recreationally cheerleading competitions other than the scene in Dodgeball where Justin Long goes to compete in Vegas?
Do I know someone who's not a cheerleader who watches cheerleading competitions? Is that your question?
Earnestly, yes.
Yes, I know one person. He was the former head coach of the New England Patriots. He actually currently coaches the North Carolina Tar Heels. He was at his girlfriend's co-ed cheer event this past weekend.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, that's why we were discussing it, and Amin was saying that nobody likes watching. What was that? What does that mean?
Time to get in it.
Jessica's
Internet minute.
Go ahead, Jess.
That's your cue, Jess.
Oh, okay. Wait, can I have a ruling on if this counts as an internet minute? It happened in real life, but I read about it on the internet.
It does. It counts.
Okay, Dan, what do you know about this reporter named Olivia Nuzzi/Nutzi? I'm not sure how to say her last name.
You know about that?
She had an affair with Scrotum Face?
Her name's Nuzzi?
Which Scrotum Face?
A lot to pick
The
from.
Dolphins
Dan.
logo?
Because there's multiple affairs with Scrotum Faces that potentially occurred in this story.
Including one with 2 Scrotum Faces.
All right, go ahead and give me the details.
I wish I knew nothing about this, Dan, but unfortunately I've learned everything that there is to know about this person against my will. So this woman was a political reporter. That's disgusting.
Dolphins logo.
It's an old man's ass
No,
on
it's a
the.
nutsack.
We don't know about that.
It's an old man's ass on the dolphin helmet.
It's like a
Anyways.
werewolf's ass. Okay, so she was a political reporter, and I don't know. I feel like people have probably seen this name around, and they're like, "What's the deal with that?" So I'll explain.
She pretends to be a journalist
right.
while dating or having an affair with RFK, who she was profiling.
So yes, the story came out last year that she had an affair with RFK Jr., who she had written a profile for. So then she was, I guess, sort of let go of her New York Mag job. Later on became the West Coast editor of Vanity Fair. And her ex-fiance, Dan, is also a political reporter who previously worked at The New Yorker but was let go because of some other misconduct allegation. He wrote a blog post the other night. This is where it gets there's a dramatic twist.
A what?
He wrote a blog post or a Substack, whatever you want to call it, the other night about her affair with this presidential candidate. But then if you read the whole thing, there's a huge twist at the end. Allegedly, this was about Mike Sanford, not even about RFK Jr. She's had multiple affairs with presidential candidates and previously dated Keith Olbermann. And there's your sports tie.
She's got a type.
By the way, Dan, I wore a costume today. I'm The Rock. I have a fanny pack on.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
yeah.
You're welcome.
Well done.
It is. Thank you, Jessica. Again, her extremely biased Notre Dame podcast, The Echoes, with Mike Golick Jr. Yes, we'll do it this way, I guess.
This is not an echo chamber.
Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate the time.
Bye.
I wanted to ask something based on a contention that Mike Ryan has had here for a couple of days. I don't know how you guys do these kinds of measurements. Mike Ryan has said, and Tony, I'd like you to help me here because I'm going to go to a roster literally from 40 years ago. Mike Ryan has said that the University of Miami's offense this year is positioned to be the second best in the history of the program, the best one being the one with Cam Ward.
No, last 20 years.
Okay. So the best since, okay, so I was going to go back 40 years because I didn't realize I thought you were saying it was the second best statistical offense the University of Miami has had. Regardless, the conversation I wanted to have with you is if in the modern age, right, there are two offenses I think of in University of Miami history when I think of just sheer absurdity, right? There's the one at the beginning of the 2000s where you had Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore in the backfield. You had Bryant McKinney as a first-round pick on the offensive line, and you had Andre Johnson. I don't know who the second receiver on that team was. Andre Johnson was a top pick. But then when I look back at the 1986, I believe, offense of the University of Miami, you had, as the wide receivers, you had second-round pick in Brian Blade, second-round pick in Brett Perriman, first-round pick in Michael Irvin, and your quarterback was Vinny Testaverde, a first-round pick, and Alonzo Highsmith was your running back, so that's a top-5 pick as well. I don't look at the University of Miami offense and see a whole bunch of first-round and second-round picks. Do you?
On the line, we'll see what happens with Markel Bell. But Mawanoa, on the offensive line, they have two of those players. Believe it or not, out of all the offenses you just invoked, last year's was statistically the greatest offense in the history of the program.
Correct. And so the question I was going to ask you and Amin when we start talking about the changes in how it is the game is played, right? You can tell me that Restrepo is the best receiver in Miami history because the production suggests as much, but he's not.
Correct.
And so
he's not the best receiver to ever put on a jersey.
So how do you do this? I just listed in a sort like that's an absurdity of wealth I'm talking about, where you cannot dispute what I'm saying. That amount of talent at the skill positions is just asinine. And so
did Testaverde go number 1 overall?
Yeah.
Yes. And so you got Testaverde number 1 overall. You got Highsmith behind him. You got Bratton behind him as well. Like Melvin
Bratton was good.
Like that was a first round pick as well. So I'm not looking at this Miami offense, and I mean, maybe Malachi Toney is a high pick. I don't know. He seems undersized. Maybe his quickness is such that 3 years from now he will be a high pick because he's an obviously very productive receiver. But how do you guys do this when the game has changed so much that what you're talking about is collegiate talent and passing, but you're not really talking about, oh, I see those skill guys and they're just unbelievable.
I think Amin could probably invoke the NBA in that all kind of NBA stats are cuckoo right now. Like Buddy Hield's one of the greatest 3-point shooters of all time. Statistically, where is he all time?
So, like, that's a crazy thing. I remember when Reggie Miller's 3-point record was broken. It was a big deal. Ray Allen did it, and then Steph Curry broke his. And I just saw last night that Reggie Miller is now 7th or 8th on the all-time.
LeBron passed him, right?
Yeah, LeBron passed him. So it's like all these little things. Vince Carter in one night got passed on 2 different things. He got passed by Steph Curry in points scored and passed by LeBron James in seasons played. The numbers are accelerating because of the pace and the style of play. But this goes right back to Dan. When I hate when people are like, "Ooh, it's better." Someone's like, it's impossible to compare. Like, just because the numbers are bigger doesn't necessarily mean this is a better quality athlete.
I feel like, because we're going back 40 years, right? 1986. I feel like sometimes we obviously acknowledge how much better, how much more skilled, bigger, faster players are today than they were, say, 40 years ago. I don't think we mention often enough how much better the coaches are. Like, coaches today, the way they scheme, design the plays, play calling is definitely so much better and more complicated than it was 40 years ago. Like, those players that you just mentioned back in 86, If you had those guys on this Hurricanes team, it's completely different than with these current players, but this kind of coaching, meaning, the kind of plays, design, schemes, and all of that.
With just the technology that's available, think of scouts. Think of how many cameras we got. Think of our ability to have playbooks not on thick stacks of paper, but on an iPad.
Yeah.
And each play has video associated with it. The tools available to the modern athlete are so much far beyond what we had 40 years ago.
There's no way the coaches back then in 1986 were close to what they are right now.
Zazzy, even though
Walsh with like a word.
Even though it's staffing, right? Like the idea of like how big was the staff 40 years ago versus the staff now? There's just so many people just around on the staff who can do these things.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that because we didn't talk yesterday at all when you mentioned staff that Chip Kelly's making $6 million a year. He's the highest paid offensive quarterback in the league. Coordinator, excuse me. And I find amusing that so many people were upset about the conflict of interest with Tom Brady when clearly he's not providing anything on offense that is helping them in any way when Ashton Genty is carrying 6 times for 7 yards and leads the league.
Matthew Berry told us he was going over.
Yeah, leads the league in being tackled in the backfield and being hit before. Like, I've seen Ashton Genty, and this has to be a record, an NFL record. I have seen Ashton Genty hit 7,000 times this season before he gets the football. Like there are people in that back. That's a bad Dallas defense. So
they did make a personnel change, though. That was a helpful acquisition, and it directly impacted Genty in that game.
Correct. But what has happened clearly, look, I think Pete Carroll regrets going back to Oakland. I think he underestimated, as we all did, how much Geno Smith was helped by having Metcalf, Lockett, and Smith and Jigba on the same team. Like, those were all on the same team at one time, those 3 guys, and they clearly made Geno Smith look a lot better than he looks right now.
You take Ashton Genty over his rushing yards, and then you check mid-game. He's got 2 rushes for -1 yard.
Yeah.
Not a good feeling.
Christ. Yeah. Dallas was putting so many. They had 700 people in the box.
Matthew Berry didn't tell me that.
I saw Leon Lett and Too Tall Jones get into the backfield and hit Ashton Genty. The thing that happened in that game, though, what are you paying Chip Kelly for? Like, what is Tom Brady doing there? Like, we talked so much about conflict of interest, and he's wearing a headset. What possible wisdom is he giving them? They are terrible at offense.
The Chip Kelly thing is interesting, and it's why the NFL, when they talk about Lane Kiffin, they worry about his offense. Why would we trust you to develop our quarterback, even though you worked with him before, when you have a recent history of guys coming back from college to the NFL and their offense is not working out?
When we see Brady in the booth and he's got the headset on and everything, are we sure he's not just practicing broadcasting?
Well, there's no
Needs
proof
that,
that
too.
he's getting better at it, so I don't know how much he's practicing.
There were a few plays the last time I listened to him where I was like, he seems to be stopping now. Because, before he was just pushing through the next play. There were a few times where I'm like, he may have gotten the note because he stopped talking at the right time. He's still not great, but he at least has the timing down a little better.
It's kind of like one of those things with the great players. Like, why can't great players be great coaches? Like, just go do what I did. And it's like, hey, Tom, we can't. Like, I'm Geno Smith. I can't do what you did.
Whose job is it to give Tom Brady notes? Who's the guy?
Producers?
I know whose job it is on paper. I'm talking about in real life. Who's the one? You tell him. No, you tell him. You tell him. Tom, can you?
I pictured Burkhardt just being like, try to stop before the next play starts.
You guys say that, though, but I have found that athletes take to coaching well and want to be better, so they crave criticism. Like, they're different than most media people. They are not the sensitive
He's like, give it to me straight. Right after the first one, he's like, give me real notes here.
I assume he wants to be better at it. I don't think he wants to be bad at it. I don't think he wants to be bad at anything.
Do you think, like, it matters, though? Like, he wants to be better. He already knows the check's coming. It's like, I can just kind of do my thing.
He sees he gets the overall vibe of the internet. I feel like he could tell that it was not positive.
Tony, that goes against everything I know about Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady is fighting like hell to not have his name brought up as the biggest gulf between what they did on the field and what they did in the booth, because right now he's top of that heap.
Who's got that title? Who's he taking that title from?
That's
Marino?
a great.
That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty
good
good nominee for somebody who was great on the field,
Reggie Miller,
but was famously bad at broadcasting, or is famously.
Remember when he wanted to be a stand-up comedian? That was like a short stint of like, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. And we're like,
who did?
Really? Tom Brady.
That's crazy.
Before he was broadcasting, he was like, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. We were all like, really?
Okay. I don't remember that part.
You're telling me Tom Brady's going to stand up in front of me and say things and I'm going to laugh?
Look it up.
There's no way.
Look it up.
I don't think.
And
was
you
that
remember?
real?
I know you remember.
no,
you're locked in on stand-up comedy. I know you do.
But was that for real? For real?
It's like when T.I. tried to do stand-up. It's like, I don't know. Like
Blake Griffin tried stand-up. Blake Griffin was good at stand-up.
He's good. Tom Brady, bad.
I have had a source of tension here for these 3 hours, and I'm going to say pretty close to the 24 hours before it. There have been very few sources of tension with Zaz since he's been here, but he left here yesterday genuinely pissed off because he felt like I was asking him a question that I was asking Amin.
I know you were.
And everyone was confused by whether I was asking Zaz the question or whether I was asking Amin the question, and then Amin objected by when Zaz answered the question.
The look that Amin was giving me, I was confused while I was talking. And Amin, wait, why are you looking at me like that? I'm answering a question here. I'm giving good information. Amin was very upset. I didn't like it.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
And so the tension here develops into what ruling from among everybody? What do we come to?
Did you say ruling?
Yes, a consensus.
All rise, the Honorable Jonathan
Wait a
Zaslow
minute.
now presiding
He's-
with prejudice.
Wait a minute. He's ruling on his own. He's going to rule. He's got bias here. What do you mean it's without prejudice? He's got prejudices here. He's going to
Dan,
rule.
enough from you. Your papacy.
Thank you. Dan?
You want to explain to people? You want to explain it any more? Does it need any more context than what I've just offered on what it is?
I know how to run a courtroom. Thank you very much,
Sorry.
Dan.
I'm sorry.
So let's revisit the question in question from yesterday's show. Let's play. I need some evidence here, and we will decide if the question was for me or the question was for Amin. Can I please? This is Exhibit A.
You have been very hard on LeBron James, Zaslow. You have said that LeBron James is faking an injury.
Oh, yeah.
It made me laugh to see the headline, LeBron James, and then parenthetically, sciatica. Returns to the Lakers. You are thinking what's about to happen here, given that the usage rate of Luka has made the Lakers look like the Mavs that went to the finals.
Yeah.
Because when you give Luka the ball all the time and just allow him to dominate the ball, he will dominate the game. And, I'd be curious about your thoughts here, because the Lakers with Luka through 14 games, and Luka has missed a few of them, and Austin Reeves has been great. They haven't looked like they missed LeBron at all, even though statistically LeBron was a top 10 player in the league last year.
That was the first half of the question.
Okay. Holy crap, what a long question. All right. I would like some eyewitness accounts. Mike Ryan, please.
Some witnesses?
Hey, how's it going, baby? I was here earlier. I think that question was for Amin.
Chris, I would like an eyewitness account.
You're a biased judge.
I'm getting eyewitness accounts.
I think it started
You made
for
a
you.
face. You got a witness. You're threatening the witnesses.
I think it started for you, and then Dan realized as he was asking it, like, oh, Zaz isn't the perfect person to
me,
ask this question to. It's Amin.
This is like a 3/4 of the way, Zaz. He pivots at the last second for Amin. So if you're asking me who was this question for, I'm going Zaz.
If it may please the court, he's just talking
Go
to
ahead,
Zaz.
Amin.
He's just talking to Zaz. He says, Zaz, you're one of those guys, da-da-da, and he makes his point, and then he ends with the question directed at me.
He asked the question invoking Jonathan Zaslow's name, and then mid-question, you may have heard, asks another question directed at Jonathan Zaslow, and then later in this godforsakenly long question, does he then address Amin? I rule in favor of the question being for Jonathan Zaslow.
No! Forgivable!
That's my gimmick. You don't pour water on me.
Guys, listen up. The Emirates NBA Cup is rolling. Big games, big stakes, nonstop drama. Get in on all the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code Dan. That's code Dan. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bet if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Oh, look at who's here. Everyone gets very excited when Mina Kimes is here. And to honor Mina Kimes making an appearance, we got breaking news.
Dano, hot off the press, Dylan Gabriel in the concussion protocol. Shedeur Sanders to make his first start this Sunday.
Okay.
We will start then in the obvious place of showing Mina, that beauty pageant contestant from Chile, doing death metal during the talent portion of the beauty pageant.
That's crazy.
If you're just listening, it's a beautiful woman doing death metal during the talent portion of a beauty pageant. Mina, your thoughts?
Uncannily close to my Cookie Monster impression or my Elmo impression, both of them, right? If I remember correct. I don't know if it started as Cookie Monster or I pretended to be Elmo and was interpreted as Yoda, but the net result was a lot like that. I think we can all agree.
All right, do me the favor, Chris, of finding me some generic death metal sound that we can have Mina do either her Cookie Monster or
that'll be
her
easy to
Elmo
find.
Too. Yeah, just
generic death metal sound. Let me Google that.
Just come on, you can find it. I know you can. Let's talk not about Shedeur Sanders, but the thing I did want to talk about, because I really feel, Mina, like we're super ignorant about the concussion stuff. Everybody, the idea that C.J. Stroud on Tuesday that they could say, "Yep, third week, he's out." He's not, like, the stuff happening in his head must be pretty bad.
I just want to say, you might be the only person in sports media who's going in the concussion direction off of the Shedeur. I know you're not talking about Shedeur, who's starting because of the concussion, but I don't think a single person has expressed any concern for the health of Dylan Gabriel in all of this. There is zero Dylan Gabriel or concussion discourse. But yeah, to actually answer your question, the CJ Stroud stuff is scary. Whenever you see multiple weeks, you know that means that tests are not being passed, concerns are had by both either the team or the player, which I suspect might be both in this case, and that is really scary. I think about some players, for example, Jaquan Brisker in Chicago, who just missed tons of games, and you start hearing that week after week, and he's not back after the customary week away, and you do start to get concerned.
The coverage of Shedeur Sanders bothers me, like the disproportionate.
Which part? I think it's so normal and not at all insane.
Yeah, just that we're
Against
talking
all odds.
about a fifth-round pick who can't play, and we're talking about him only because he's famous.
Yeah, I think what I would object to, I'm not saying you're saying this, but I think like the idea that this is new because, right, we all remember Tebow mania. Every now and then there comes a player along who not only invites an undue level of scrutiny and interest, but also I think a lot of takes from people who don't even, like, who aren't immersed in the sport. A lot of the, reaction was last week, okay, let's make excuses. Well, he didn't even get reps with the first team. And I know Cam Newton gave a take about this, but for the most part, it was people who don't really seem to cover football that much saying it was outrageous, even though it's pretty much the norm. Or honestly, people being overly hard on him. Like, it was predictable as all get out that a fifth-round pick in that offense, which sucks, that offensive line, which is terrible, would look awful. I do think he has a real opportunity this weekend because in addition to getting the much-discussed reps, the Raiders' defense, we saw what Dallas did to them. I think he could have an easier go of it, and a real opportunity to show that he belongs in this league.
How do people with a straight face say that Kevin Stefanski doesn't want Shedeur Sanders to succeed? How does that make any sense?
I think there's a lot of just reaching for. Here's what I'll say though. I would be surprised if Kevin Stefanski wanted them to draft Shedeur, but also what you're saying is insane. Is like, why would he self-sabotage, right? He doesn't want to look bad. I mean, there's a chance Kevin Stefanski isn't the coach of the Browns next year, the two-time, coach of the year, and there's no reason. It's insane to think that he would willingly want his offense to look. He's not play calling. Tommy Reese is, but it doesn't make sense. It's absolutely bad.
Mina, that Denver Broncos Kansas City Chiefs game is going to be hugely consequential for who's going to be Super Bowl champion. The fact that Kansas City lost that game, it kind of cements that they're going to have to do this thing on the road if they get an opportunity to do it at all. Specific to KC, what do you think their postseason chances are now?
Pretty low, man. I mean, maybe they squeak in. I have to look at everybody's schedule, but even if they do squeak in, it's gonna be hard to pick them against a lot of the better competitors in the AFC. Even a team like the Bills, that's flawed, that really can't defend the run, is actually a bad matchup for Kansas City because Kansas City can't run the ball. And you saw that right when they played. And I think that's the thing. When I look at this Chiefs team, everyone points to like, oh, they had the luck in the one-score games last year, and now the luck is gone. And that's 100% true and something we should remember. We will not remember. But when another team does it this year and you're looking at one-score records, people should remember it. But the thing I think strikes me when I watch them is it's just a very fundamentally flawed team. They can't run the football. They struggle against man coverage, and they can't rush the passer. And those are pretty important things when it comes to winning playoff games.
Mina, was Dan's take right that their offense is kind of constipated?
Yeah. Constipated is such a great word to describe it because if you can, just play tight man coverage and, the Broncos can do that, or even you're not too afraid of getting beat over the top, and Mahomes missed a couple balls in that game, everything does feel really tight. Everything does feel like you're just playing for third down. I don't know why I did a constipated voice there. You're playing for third down and just trying to squeeze out. Oh God, actually, I don't.
No, you're right. You're
good for you.
No,
you're cooking. You're cooking
keep
right
doing
now.
this.
You're pushing, and you
keep
just
doing this. Yes, you need.
It's the perfect visual.
Their
actually.
offense needs. Is it Imodium or is that the opposite?
Metamucil.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hate how
it is.
quickly I answered that.
Yeah. Isn't their EPA good though? Like, don't they have? Isn't it like the? No.
Look at you. Just so proud of my large adult son dad using EPA on his show. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, until a couple weeks ago, the offense was like when Rashid Rice came back, it was like, oh, we are freaking bad. I felt that way watching them. But I think you're just seeing the flaws, and a lot of it comes down from the inability to run the ball because there's a lot of defenses around the NFL that can't stop the run or are begging you to run. And if you're a team that just consistently cannot do it, that has now been the least explosive rushing game in the entire NFL for multiple years in a row, and for some reason decided not to draft a running back and it's not altered things, you're going to run into teams that are just like, cool, we will choke you out through the air, and if you can't run the ball, so be it.
Chris, go ahead and give me some public domain death metal music, and let's see what Cookie Monster, Elmo, what Mina decides to do with the public domain death metal music.
Nom 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 nom. They want cookies. Where are the cookies? I'm the Cookie Monster. Me want cookies.
Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of everything that's happening there. So I thought the most impressive thing.
Come on, it's the chorus.
These cookies! I want cookies!
I thought the most impressive thing that I saw in football this weekend is Seattle kicking for the game with that kind of turnover disparity. I looked through some of the stats and can't believe that it's like the Peyton Manning MVP offense of the Broncos, it's the greatest show on turf, and it's the Seattle Seahawks when it comes to having over 100 in point differential but being negative on turnover margin. That is an exceptional football team. That team will win the Super Bowl if it can figure out how not to turn over the ball in the playoffs.
I think I saw that the defense, that was the most statistically impressive performance by a defense against Matthew Stafford ever in his career. I mean, and Matthew Stafford has been playing unbelievable this year, right? So I thought it was one of the more impressive regular season performances by a defense that I can remember. They are incredibly well coached. They're talented at all three levels. The pass rush is unbelievable. And yeah, for them to get that close, it is, I think it's going to raise a lot of interesting discussions about what you said, which is how do you keep Sam Darnold from doing what he did in that game and the same thing he did against the Rams. And I think for Seattle's purposes, it's not just like Sam Darnold doesn't have the clutch gene. Sam Darnold is a choker on the playoff, the big stage. It's Sam Darnold struggles against specific types of interior pressures when he has to sort out the rush. That is how I felt watching him in that last year. That's how I felt watching him in this game. I thought the Rams did a fantastic job of drawing out the exact types of pressures that give Darnold trouble. So for Seattle now, it's like you got 2 months to fix that. Not 2 months, right? It's November. Jeez Louise. You got a month and a half to fix that. You got to figure out a way to run the ball too against defenses that go light like LA. But you got, and the other thing with Darnold, because the defense is so good, bro, just take a sack. Like he was trying to make plays happen on all of those that just weren't there. But you got the freaking rebirth of the Legion of Boom on your side. Just take the sack, live to play another day, because they're going to hold them to very few points.
I read some stats earlier this week that he's 21-4. Darnold is against people who aren't Chris Shula, but against Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, he 0-3, 12 sacks, 5 interceptions. So is it interior pressure? Is it that the Rams are good at interior pressure, or which is it more of? Interior pressure of the Rams or Chris Shula?
Yeah, I think it's the pressure designs by Chris Shula, because on 3 of the 4 interceptions, it wasn't just defensive tackles winning straight up. He was like showing all out blitzes. Guys were dropping. So Sam was like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Who's actually coming? And then you would have edges in many cases looping around the inside. So it was like Darnold holding on the football a little tight because he was confused. And then here comes Byron Young barreling through the A-gap, or Puna Ford in one case. So like, I think just going back and rewatching them, Dan, like all the similarities in the pressure designs, Shula very smartly leaned on that, but also the players are very good.
Mina, what'd you make of Mike McDaniel becoming just the second coach this century to go for 4th and goal with under 2 minutes left in a tie game?
I think it's the kind of thing you do when you're in like full F-it mode, right? Like Mike McDaniel is like having a senior spring, as we used to call it in high school, where it's just like, I'm out of here. Maybe I'm out of here anyways, whatever. Like he did a bit after, you guys saw that, right? He like went into the press conference, did like a full-blown Le Batard style bit. Nobody cared because they won and it was forgotten. I think if they had lost, there would have been a lot of calls to fire him this week.
Mina, thank goodness for the Bucks that Baker won all those coin flip games at the beginning of the season, because they had a slew of injuries and then really tough opponents. But if you look at Baker's performances over the last month, even though you can contextualize them, he hasn't been that good. What's going wrong for Tampa, and can they right the ship?
Wow, my throat is really feeling that Cookie Monster metal impression, by the way. I just realized.
You went and got it, though. You really.
Oh, don't tempt me to do it again.
You want to give all your analysis in death metal voice?
I gotta do.
That was your takeaway from what she said.
Please don't do that.
Don't worry about that, Mina.
I gotta do my show, by the way, the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny. We preview all the games for 2 hours later today. I can't kill my voice like that. Okay, so I think a lot of the stuff's catching up with him in terms of like not having his dudes out there, right? Emeka, wow, I almost went full Gronk there.
It's Egbegbu.
Has been awesome, but he cannot just be the entire focal point of your passing attack. And then the Bucs run game has taken a step back, although they were very good against Buffalo, which is not hard. But, they haven't had Bucky Irving. I do think getting guys back in the offensive line, the right tackle, will help them. And the other thing is, like, they just played really good teams, Mike. Like, looking back on their schedule, going into the season, I don't think it looked nearly as hard as when you realize, oh, my goodness, the Bucs have had a gauntlet to face. But fortunately, they're in the NFC South, and so things are still very winnable.
Emeka Egbegbo.
So good.
Emeka Egbegbo.
Do you think that they're going to pull like one of these 49er tricks where they get all their guys back at the right time and they find their groove, and all this is just they're hurt and they're playing the cream of the crop?
Is that a 49er trick? Because I don't feel like they ever get their guys back at the right time.
They just end up getting re-hurt.
Well, a big issue with them, I think they're still good. I think the defense is really good, too. I think Josh Allen just kind of went nuclear. But the issue for me, and this is an issue, like, I just don't know who the Panthers are. I am supposed to, at this point in the season, have a firm grasp on how I feel about teams, and I can tell you who's good and who's bad and where you could not pay me to bet on the Carolina Panthers. Like, if you gave me $100 and said bet on a Panthers game, I would just give it back to you and say keep your money, because I truly, that team more than any other team in the NFL, I have no freaking clue week to week. Although I did see they were undefeated in games where they've won the coin flip, and I think they've lost every game where they've lost the coin flip. So that to me is as good a piece of analysis as the Carolina Panthers is going to get.
That stinks as analysis, and
I
they
love it.
stink as a football team.
Can't wait for
I like it. I like it too.
I like
saw
Dan's
that and I was
analysis.
like, ooh.
Dan's Carolina Panther analysis this season has been on the money.
They stink.
Their season is over, even though they're firmly entrenched in the mix.
They don't stink. Their defense has improved a lot this year from last year.
Bryce Young threw for 448 yards, and there were 2 career-ending injuries he had in that game. He went to the sideline. I'm like, his season and his career are over.
And he's not the guy that's out for the year in that game.
Crazy.
There was a point where the line, I think it was Caden Ellis, just like suplexed him, and I thought, there's no way. He looked so small, and he just got folded up, and then he went boing, bounced right up, and then.
So Penix suffers another knee injury. Really sad when you consider what he's gone through in college. You're a big-time Washington Huskies supporter. You love Michael Penix, but this kind of feels like it may really be a wrap for him. That was a book on him when he entered the draft, that his knees couldn't take the league.
Yeah, I think I hope I'm not wrong, but I believe it's the other knee. But yeah, still the same injury concerns persist. The other thing I will say is Michael Penix had been really inconsistent this year, even before the injury, right? Like, there were games like the Bills game at night where you're watching, you're thinking, yes, the Falcons have their guy. He's got a cannon. Drake London is unbelievable. And then there were games where he just couldn't hit broadside of the barn, quite frankly. So even before the injury, you're already, I would have been unsure about where to proceed if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan. And now you go into next year, you don't have your first round pick. You gave it to the Rams, which is ridiculous. Kirk Cousins is probably going to be gone. And you got a question mark at quarterback. And probably they're going to wipe the slate clean too with the staff. So it's a pretty brutal situation all around. I think they'll probably give Penix another shot, but they'll probably have to bring in competition.
Mina, at this point, what constitutes a successful season for the Bears?
I would say just my view is just being a playoff team is enough. I imagine Bears have higher aspirations than that. They would say they want to win a playoff game. But let me rephrase that. Being a playoff team and then getting there and not pooping your pants. So, like, I would like to see them get in the playoffs, which seems very doable at this point, and then just look like they belong. They don't have to win, I think. And I don't think Bears fans would agree with that.
Oh,
but
I
still
think
view them
it's
as being a
already.
pretty
I think
incomplete
it's
team.
already a success because they know they have the best quarterback they've ever had as a franchise.
And a good coach. And I mean, the run game has been wildly fixed. I just think they don't have enough of a pass rush. There's issues with run defense. So, but yeah, I agree about that. With the quarterback and the coach seem to be sort of coming together too as the season goes along. So you feel good about where things are going.
You mentioned the pooping of the pants. I will show you a Packers defensive lineman peeing on the sidelines here.
Exactly what I wanted to see.
Obviously peeing on the sidelines here.
Good job by the coaches there, clearly looking away, making him feel very safe.
Yes,
Holding towels.
Excellent
Is that
work.
Bryan Cranston?
There is a lot of looking away there. That could be either Bryan Cranston or Aaron Paul. It looks like both of them. I don't have any commentary here. Do you?
Are you watching Pluribus? Sorry, Bryan Cranston just got me thinking about that because of Breaking Bad. Dan, I feel like this is extremely.
Yeah, I love it. I'm 2 episodes in, and and I love all the Breaking Bad Easter eggs in it, like just all the little nuances of Vince Gilligan.
Where'd you go?
Where'd
Did
you
someone say Pluribus?
Why are you breathing so hard? Did you want to talk Pluribus with Mina?
Yeah.
Are you into Pluribus too?
I'm into it. I'm into
So good.
how the protagonist is an absolute miserable.
I know. I love it. It's like, okay, so like my interpretation of it just briefly is like, this is like a real allegory for grief, right? Like how when you're grieving, nobody understands you. Everybody wants to help, and you just want them to just shut the F up and go away if you're a certain kind of person, which this person is. But it's like turned up to, it's like, okay, what if we took that and then turned it into like a hilarious X-Files episode meets Breaking Bad with a woman who is like the most miserable version of that, and how far can you as a viewer, your sympathies for her go? I just love how he's like pushing on our sensibilities and like how whether or not we will stick with this woman because she is really hard to watch.
Well,
I love it.
Mina, the incredible thing is, at first I was like, yes, this person is grieving. Of course, it's hard to come to grips with it. And then we got the little flashback in the other episode, like, oh, no, this is just who you are. And now
To
it's
some
like-
degree, yeah.
I mean, to a lot of degree. Look, the bed's made of ice. We get it. It was a nice hotel.
Oh, but they're also
wouldn't wanna
the way they're selling it is the most miserable person on the earth tries to save the world from happiness.
Haven't you ever, I think it's about grief, but it could be about anything where you mentally are going through something, whether it's grief or depression or a personal issue, and you just feel like all of your friends are annoying the hell out of you trying to help? Like, or everyone in your life just completely does not understand what you're going through, and their efforts to cater to you are like actually working against, like it's more and more annoying as it goes on. Like, isn't that a universal feeling that we can all relate to?
I would imagine so. I would also imagine that some of the things, I've been thinking about this lately with David Sampson, when you're grieving like that, your world has been turned upside down. You kind of get mad at the world because everyone else is still living their life, and you're lonely with the idea of like, how can anyone else not be in pain when I'm suffering like this?
And it feels like they all have this like weird hive mind in some ways. Like, how are you guys are just like, oh, cool, you're all just like marching along and excited about, pumpkin spice lattes coming out, and you're just like, how are you living your life like that? I don't know. I think it's spectacular. By the way, at my other pod, Viewer Discretion, we're going to talk about it next week. So if you're watching that show and you're into that, go check it out.
How about The Chair Company? Are you watching that?
Yeah, of course. I want to know what it's like to watch that show. If you've not watched I Think You Should Leave, which is his other show on Netflix that my friend Zach Kanan created. Oh, he's also involved with this, but like that show is so much pretext for this show. I know. And it I feel like I just can't imagine like a standard HBO viewer who is, I know. Yeah, it was bad. But I just can't imagine like being a normal HBO Sunday night viewer and being like, oh, I'll check this out. Like, and not being familiar with Tim Robinson's. By the way, I posited a theory, and I think there's some substance to it, that Tim Robinson is loosely basing his character in The Chair Company on Jim Harbaugh. Who was on Detroiters, who so they know each other.
Let's talk this one out. Why?
Okay. So literally on Sunday night, I was watching, they did a side interview with Jim Harbaugh, like a halftime interview. I think it was a few Sundays ago. And everything about it, his mannerisms, his like weird focus on like random shit, his ability to like, he couldn't shake his obsession with whatever he was talking about. It was so similar to the main character in The Chair Company that then we watched The Chair Company later, I was like, I feel like I'm watching the extension of the halftime interview, and Jim Harbaugh's just like going down a rabbit hole. And that family has had to deal with Jim Harbaugh, doing his proverbial Jeep Tours company or something, whatever. Like, he's going down some weird roads that we don't know about.
Chris, which would have been better in terms of hitting her with "Look at Me"? Would it have been this one?
Look at me, Louisa.
Would it have been this one?
Look at me, Louise.
I actually had someone, I'm going to do it again. I actually had someone run the theory by Tim Robinson, who was on a...
Hit her again.
Play this out.
Yeah, that's the name drop. I think the name drop is better than this.
Look at me, Lucy.
Look at
no,
me.
I like the name drop sound.
Look at me.
Go ahead, Amin. You've been interrupted 16 times.
Look at me, Louie is reserved for when you are acting in a way that's like, look at me, I'm holier than thou. Our papacy excluded, of course. Name drop is when you do what Mina just did, where it's like, yeah, I had someone run it by old Tim. That someone is
Nobody
Zach, by the
wants
way.
to know what he said in response to the theory.
Did he respond?
Yes.
He
And
responded?
You know what? He did respond, and because of how you guys have acted, I'm not going to tell you what he said.
Wow.
You got it.
In that case, sing again.
You can't do it. Can't do it. Don't make me sing. Don't make me sing.
You wanted to ask her something, Zaz, before we got carried away with hijinks?
Thank you, my son. Mina, were you shocked at the end of the last episode of Chair Company?
We haven't watched the last episode yet.
No,
so
like two episodes ago.
The second to last one. There's not.
Oh.
The last one is not as shocking as the one before.
Spoiler
that.
alert.
Okay, so it's a perfect example as of like how because I've watched I Think You Should Leave and I'm familiar with the oeuvre, but I was like watching that and thinking, if you have not watched this man's work, you must be like just befuddled by what you're seeing on your television.
Okay, that's
You know what I'm
actually how I'm experiencing it now, Mina, because I started
'Cause you
watching
didn't-
The
okay.
Chair Company, and now I've been watching I Think You Should Leave.
He started with Friendship.
Yeah.
He started Tim Robinson with Friendship and said he got secondhand awkward embarrassment.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to finish the movie.
I have a little Tim Robinson zipline guy behind me, by the way. That's not a name drop. It's literally just a prop that's relevant to the discussion. Yeah, you should watch I Think You Should Leave. Watch the first season.
I am.
You sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I feel like how do I explain? It is just like an embrace of like randomness that doesn't really exist in comedy, right? Like we're just like no one can predict anything that anyone's about to say. It's like in a world where like increasingly every content is just AI spitting out like, hey, what's the next sentence going to be? AI could never write a single line of dialogue or scene in a show like this because it only comes from the most demented brains on earth.
I made my older son sit down and watch I Think You Should Leave with me. He got mad at me.
Yeah,
that's a common experience of people watching. I think you should leave.
I think that's something. I've told you guys the story that I was with my brother's fiance at a loud place, and I was recommending the show to her, and she thought I was being mean because she couldn't hear me, and I just kept saying, "I think you should leave."
Oh,
That's actually a great sketch for that show.
Who do you imagine is going to win? Colts off a bye versus Kansas City, and I will say. If you have not listened to the Lenny show featuring Mina Kimes, it has a lot of information in it. It is a data dump unlike anything I have heard in analysis, the way she geeks out on the specifics of where the advantages are. So when you see that game, you introduced me to the idea that the Bills, you weren't brave enough to pick the Bills against the Chiefs, but you said that game would go the way it would because you're like, the Chiefs cannot stop the run up the middle, and the Bills are great at running up the middle, and you didn't trust the Bills enough. When you look at this particular game, it would seem to me that Jonathan Taylor is better on the outside than he is up the middle, but you see what happening there.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Colts in this, and we're going to break it down in more detail. But I think with the Chiefs, to me, it's a lot of things with the defense. I don't think they can get the kind of pass rush that it's going to disrupt Daniel Jones. And I think also with the Colts offense, so much of what they do is RPOs, play action, teams trying to stop the run. Those are things that the Chiefs are bad at as well. Stopping play action is the thing that comes to mind too. You saw the Chargers and what they did to them in week 1, and that's been an issue all year long, just going after those linebackers. So I just think the way this Colts offense is built, they can attack Kansas City. And then on the other side of the ball, the addition of Sauce Gardner is big because I think to play the Chiefs, if you can play man coverage consistently, they just can't win, man. Like those receivers are not winning, and Travis Kelce does his best work against zone. So I think that is going to help them a great deal in that matchup.
How funny is the very fair sentence from Mina? I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to disrupt Daniel Jones.
Wild, right? What a time.
Mina, little thought exercise here. At the end of the college football season, Team A is 10-2, and then Team B is 10-2. They both have some solid wins, but Team B beat Team A head-to-head. Who should be ranked higher?
Is this about Notre Dame and Miami?
It's about Team A and Team B.
I'm just trying to guess because I'm really not locked in.
Team A and Team B.
I'm going to go with the team that's not Miami.
I need your support.
I have no idea. That was a joke. I really don't.
2 minutes for boring.
You can leave now, Mike. I think you should leave.
There you go.
So can you give me Chris Cody? I want to play this for Mina if she hasn't heard it. Maybe she can guess on what this is.
Let's go, Dolphins.
Is it people in Spain saying "Let's go Dolphins"?
It's a person.
Who is it?
It's a pirate, Ed Orgeron. No, it is Dan Marino in.
Don Marino.
It is Don Marino.
Don Marino.
In
Dan Marino not understanding how "Let's Go Dolphins" chant should
How
sound.
do you know he's not trying to change the chant?
Because he was in Spain. Get it? Don Marino.
No, I got yes.
Just making sure. No, not for you. You were saying it.
Where are we at? Well, let me tap into your guys. Where are we at on the Mike McDaniel? Like, are we full fire or we play this out? give him
I
another
just
year?
think if you're stuck with the contract at quarterback, you wait for Tyreek Hill to get back and you put the bandage on it for next year because you don't want to sweep out your GM, your coach, and your quarterback all in the same year when in a bad quarterback draft. Like you don't even have hope on the horizon, so might as well just bandage it up for a year. That's me. I don't think that's the audience. I don't think that's the fan base. I think wants everybody out here, even if they don't have a better solution.
Yeah,
Andy's 500 as a coach. Like I understand why you're mad at him, but it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing offensively.
The Bills game, I mean, what they did on the ground in that game, some of his, I mean, he's a brilliant run game designer. I think you saw that on display. Yeah, I've been like, when they fired Greer, I think my reaction was, I don't know if they're going to upgrade on Mike McDaniel this offseason. And so I'm in kind of agreement with you. And I was surprised at how many Dolphins fans were upset about him, I guess. I understand you're losing, but pretty obviously, I don't think he's on the list of problems with the team very high.
Mina, would it work with a better quarterback, or what kind of quarterback would that Mike McDaniel offense work better with?
Maybe one that can move.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. I think moving would be helpful. Arm strength would be helpful. The predictability of it makes it.
Does
really
Tua
hard
have
to
any
beat.
value? Does he have any trade value with that contract?
I kind of don't. I think when I looked at it, it wasn't like if they traded him, it would be like that massive for another team. They would have to eat it. But I think I just can you imagine being a fan base of another team and that's your solution? Like I don't think that would go over very well.
Yeah, but that said, you've heard me say before that I don't know how to untangle quarterback play from skill play. So Geno Smith goes to the Raiders, and I'm like, oh, so when you have Smith and Jigba and Lockett and Metcalf, you can look like Geno Smith, even though when you leave him, you look like the Jets quarterback again.
Yeah, and I think what I obviously had to eat a lot of crow on. Is it crow? Are you eating crow?
Yeah, that's as wrong as you've been thinking the Raiders were going to be a good at offense because you're such a Pete Carroll, biased person.
Eat crow, I think. I don't know. What did that come from, by the way?
Eating a crow.
Yeah. Well, okay. Somebody ate a crow and was like, that was a bad idea. Well, so that was me. What I failed to identify, I think, most of all, was that how bad the Raiders' offensive line would be and how that would bring out Geno Smith's worst tendencies and make them worse. And I think that's what we're seeing. I mean, you saw that on Monday, right? Like that, it's non-playable, non-functional situation, but then the quarterback is also amplifying it. So it's like bad things making other bad things worse.
Can you look up "eat crow" for us, the origins of that? Because I don't know why. I understand the expression, but I don't know how it began and why anyone is eating crow.
Looks like it's a folk tale, or comes from a folk tale around the 1850s, describing the humiliation of being forced to eat an unappetizing crow.
Yeah, I don't imagine the crow. I imagine
in
terms of the birds, the crow would be the least of the appetizing birds,
That's
right?
a dirty bird.
Yeah.
Pigeon is worse than crow. I'd rather eat crow
I thought the
than
falcon
pigeon.
was a dirty bird.
Falcon's probably delicious.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Is a falcon definitely delicious?
Is squab pigeon?
What is it?
Because I've eaten squab.
I don't know what squab is.
That's a made-up bird.
I don't.
It's not a made-up bird. Look it up.
What is squab? I don't know what squab is.
Quail. Squab's quail. Squab's quail.
Okay, quail.
Quail.
Never eaten pigeon.
Quail eggs, by the way, very small.
That is correct.
You know when you're looking around the eggs, you're like, what are those? So small.
Mina, always lovely to see you. Don't be a stranger. Again, I will remind everybody around here, the podcast is exceptional. Lenny is better than she is, but Mina's also pretty good. And it's the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny.
No.
You're going to give her the death metal?
One more time.
You want to do a promo as a death metal, metal person for the Lenny Show featuring Mina Kimes?
Oh, wow. I love cookies, but not as much as I love the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny.
It's a very good show, and I'm telling you, there per square inch, there is not more football information.
Great for gambling.
That you can get stuffed in your face. Who are you doing it with today?
You thought Ben Solak was Bill Barnwell when you texted me about it. I still appreciated you listening to it. I think that's the first time that's ever happened. But this last week, Dominique and I do it every Tuesday. And then on Thursdays, we have a preview that comes out every Thursday morning. And this week, I'm having my friend Luke Sternad on, but every week it's different.
It's nice seeing you. Thank you for stopping by.
Guys.
You were looking to play for her that 6-second of her yammering where she got sort of stuck on a treadmill and you never found it. And now I'm left with 10 seconds of a segment where I thought I was just going to conclude it with 10 seconds of Mina trying to talk and failing. Instead, it's me trying to talk and definitely failing.
Before we get to Juju, we got to get the boldest take here. The Boost Mobile boldest take. It's presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
Does believing in a conspiracy theory inherently make me a conspiracy theorist?
Home addresses are the Dewey Decimal System for houses.
Adam Silver looks like a breatharian. Jeremy Taché is the guy that shows up at work and tries to convince everybody that driving a minivan is cool and extremely practical.
Limited fake Tina Turner from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
He's just a raggedy man.
Why does Rex Ryan look like he can eat pistachios like they're sunflower seeds?
Don't like 2-1, I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. When Tua drops back with his itty-bitty face and a DN starts to chase, he won't run.
Is Justin Herbert good?
My dad used to call shoes dudders.
What was that? That last one?
His dad used to call shoes dudders.
Of course, you didn't know that.
So call it something longer instead of something shorter.
Let's bring aboard Juju here. Juju, how you doing? Good to see you.
Pretty good, brother. How you doing? I'd like to remind you that my name is Julian G. Just
I'm
for the
sorry.
record.
We want to make sure that everybody acknowledges the credibility that comes along with Julian G and his appearances, of course. Sorry about that,
sir.
Julian G. Hey, you heard us talking earlier about NBA players who could make good softball players. You got some thoughts?
Yes, sir. It made me Oh, look, I love that. This distract me. I love that nameplate right there. Thank you to the video team. You are all mentions. But yeah, it made me develop a top 5 NBA softball player list.
Let's go.
Number 5, Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, he's got a softball body.
Yeah, and he's a Dominican brother, so you already know it's in his blood. Number 4, Paolo Banchero.
Love this team you're building here.
Yes, sir, man. Angels in the outfield. Number 3, Al Horford.
Yeah. What position do you envision out? He can't move very much these days. Like catcher, maybe?
Catcher or first base only.
I could see Al Horford being your pitcher. Yeah. Who's going to be pitching? I can see this.
Because he's Dominican?
No, just because I can, he's not moving a lot, but he's like a team leader. I could see him out there with the mask.
And because he's Dominican.
The pitchers wear the mask so like they don't get hit in the face with the ball.
All right.
Yeah, he's also Dominican. Number 2, Jaime Jaquez Jr.
What are we doing there?
All right. Okay. There's a pattern. Let him cook. Let him cook. Let's see who he's got.
Number 1, at shortstop, Jose Alvarado.
Okay. Julian, you've caught on to what you did, yeah? Good list. I think it's a play on for me.
I mean, Julian, how is Joe Ingles not on that list?
He didn't make the cut.
All right, that guy screams softball player to me. Mike, did you see on Monday Night Raw a couple of nights ago? They were in Madison Square Garden, all right? There was a lot of celebrities there. Celebrities, athletes. The New York Giants we're sitting first row. Cam Scattaboo.
Yeah, people are worked up about that.
Cam Scattaboo is in a boot. He's in a walking boot. He had an altercation, Julian G, with the Judgment Day. You see that?
Right. I wanted to get you guys' opinion because when I saw it, I was like, my boy's foot was the other way a couple weeks ago. And now he's having a shoving match with a top athlete. So I wanted to get you guys' opinion. Was that safe or is it a play on?
Yeah, people were mad. So Cam Scattaboo, he had an altercation over the railing. He ended up shoving J.D. McDonough to the ground.
And getting shoved back.
Yep. Then you had a little bit of a scuffle. A good like 8 or 9 guys were. Andrew Schultz was involved in it as well. And then Scattaboo, he put out a tweet either later that night or the next day defending himself where he said, hey, honestly, if you don't like that I'm having a good time while dealing with a tough time, then just go ahead and unfollow and casually move on. I'm not able to play football and have the fun I've been having my whole life, so I'm doing things outside the box, trying to find stuff to keep me happy. Enjoy the rest of y'all's week, and just don't talk about me if you ain't got nothing nice to say. I got to tell you, I think it's pretty well put by Cam Scattaboo there.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be what? I mean, if you're a Giants fan, or I guess most importantly, in that front office, responsible for having him on your team and overlooking how he's recovering from this, I don't think you want that. I don't think that was very smart for him.
But what's happening there? They didn't stretch him out and take a
put
steel chair to his boot.
If you watch the video, like he's putting a lot of weight on that ankle. I know he's in a boot and he's walking and they're designed to put some weight on it, but that's not something you want to see. The optics are bad, and furthermore, optics are important, and a young professional like him should understand that. I don't think just that statement that he put out, while I think most people are down with that sentiment, he's got to understand why people would have a problem with it, and he can't just dismiss it.
Do we think this was planned before the injury? How far in advance do they plan these things? I don't know. Does that change anything for you if it was planned?
I think the lapse in judgment is like, hey, I can't get shoved. Maybe that was the plan, and then something happened in there. But either way, he ended up getting shoved and tripping over himself. There's a time that he is specifically on that ankle and has to pick himself up a little bit. It's not something that you want to see. If he were on your team, you'd have a problem with it.
Tells me his rehab's going better faster than what we anticipated. The ankle feels better. He's already pushing people and doing stuff and taking steps. That's a play on for me. Also, did you see him over the weekend at MSG? Massive card UFC 322. He was in the stands with an icy one.
Oh, he's got that grill. You know about that grill?
Yeah, I know about that grill right there, bro. I think, like you said, to Mike's point, during the video, his homeboy, you can see he checked, hey, you good? Like, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm good. Because it's such it's just crazy to see and just crazy to imagine him being pushed back, like you say. Like, if he want to be in on the antics, I get it. But as a Giants fan, hold on now, that's the future. So, yeah, I think I can see it both ways.
I got no issue with it. I think that's a big nothing burger right there.
Yeah.
Julian G, we have a lot of great listeners every single day. Is there one who maybe rose above the rest today?
Oh yeah, man. For your positivity, man. I just want to salute Fox White from the YouTube chat, man.
What do you say?
You, sir, are the listener of the day. Just for positivity.
All right. Love that. Hey, so Thursday night football this week, Bills, Texans. How you feeling, Juju? That's your squad right there.
Yes, sir, man. I think that with the Bills this year, every week is going to be like rolling the dice. You feel me? Because with the Bills front office's just inability to surround Josh Allen with talent, every week is going to rely heavy on his back, on his decision-making, on his just competence. And that's how the Bills used to play back in a couple of years ago. But now to find them back in this same role is like the big puzzle this year. It's not like they're bad. It's just going to be like, if Josh is feeling good today, awesome game. If he's kind of has his cowboy hat on and doing crazy stuff, they might lose to the Dolphins. You feel me? So I think they are definitely on upset watch with the Texans. It's not going to be as easy as people think it is.
Yo, this Twitter situation is a disaster for me. Like, I'm going through this whole, I don't know if you saw this, Julian G, but my Twitter's been hacked, all right? Apparently, I sell Bitcoin now. And I'm trying to – I can't even access it. I can't even go check out what's going on. So I'm going through the whole, recover your account kind of deal, this whole rigmarole, and I get the email back. And they tell me they cannot verify that I'm the actual account holder. So no. I don't think I have Twitter anymore.
Damn, bro. Everybody need to tweet at Twitter, bro. Free Zaslow account. If you out there listening, tweet it right now, man. Hashtag Free Zaslow.
Sucks. Juju, we got some polls update here. Let's do it, man.
Yes, sir. Does Notre Dame have to kick back a little bit of the action to the Vatican? 93% of the audience says yes, they do.
Yeah,
damn.
I can see that.
Like to take this time out right now to also tell the listeners, listen to Zaslow Show 2.0, bro. Where can we find that?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Julian G. Zaslow Show 2.0, wherever you get your podcasts. Please like, rate, comment, subscribe, tell your mother I say hello. And that's great for the algorithm, all right? You guys know I got a good algorithm. But if you do this, it's great for the algorithm. Please like, rate, comment, all that stuff. Zaslow Show 2.0. Thank you for mentioning that.
No doubt, brother. Has Liam Neeson aged out of action star? 55% of the audience says yes, he has. Dang.
I don't think he has.
Right. I don't think he has either. I saw him on like an ice snowy road the other day on Netflix. He was kicking ass. So
he filmed that like 8 years ago.
Never.
You see that creaky gate and Naked Gun? The hair, though, was suspiciously dark.
Yeah.
Did you know that John Lovitz was supposed to be in Bad Boys? 82% of the audience said no, they didn't.
Nah, no one knows that. Yeah.
Is Pablo Torre more shameless than Donald Trump? What are we doing to Pablo? 66% of the audience says yes, he is.
Oh, come on.
I can see that.
And the last poll, if you have to give your partner an ultimatum, should you just break up? 90% of the audience says yes, and those are your polls.
Thanks, Juju.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.